people in here, they've been inside from the start. They haven't had to survive. And they just don't get it. They can't.
The very thing that makes you different is what makes you special.
Now I'm all warm and fuzzy inside.
To fight for this city. To be the symbol of hope that the Arrow never was. I am the Green Arrow.
Wow.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to the Fandom Zone Podcast, episode 54. And I'm Charles Skaggs, of course. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Karen Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah. I'm refreshed.
Yes.
After a nap.
From your nap. A little nappy time.
Actually, my neck hurts.
Yeah,
from my sitting up nap.
Karen was scrambling just a wee bit before we started the podcast today.
Yeah, I had the temerity to turn the heat on in the house, and I fell asleep at my desk.
Temerity. How dare you?
That's right, exactly.
How dare you get warm on a chilly Sunday afternoon?
That's right. Because I'm a dummy, that's why. So I turned the air conditioner back on to keep me awake.
So now you'll be just going with your teeth chatting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I put my hoodie back on.
All right. So hello, everyone. We have a lot of TV to talk about today.
We sure do.
10 episodes.
That is right.
So we have what? Let's see. The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 15. Supergirl, episode 18.
Yep.
Gotham, episode 16.
Correct.
Lucifer, episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
The Flash, episode 17.
Mm-hmm.
iZombie, episode 16.
Uh-huh.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., episode 14.
Uh-huh.
Arrow, episode 17. Legends of Tomorrow, episode 9. And this week's Daredevil, episode 4.
That's right.
So how goes your Daredevil rewatch? Or watch?
I'm loving it.
Loving it? How far are you in?
4.
Okay. See, I just finished episode 8 this morning.
Ugh.
So,
you.
And there's a what a twist ending, sort of.
Stop it.
I'm not saying anything.
Why are you doing this to me?
Torture.
You're rude. I only watched number 4 last night. So
Because I'm evil.
Yes, you are. And you're more than evil, as you know, from just before we started recording with the earworms that you're putting in my head. Yes, stop it. Not to mention the other thing. The bit of editing I did.
The other thing we'll get to at the end of the episode.
That's right. That's why I didn't say it.
This is the week ending, April 2nd?
Yes, April 2nd, 2016.
Yeah.
Just in case people are listening,
no, that's cool.
In 2147.
Yeah.
Do you see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Okay.
2147. Say, that sounds familiar.
It does.
Sounds vaguely something tomorrow.
Yeah, something tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow-ish.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this because we got a lot to cover.
We certainly do.
Especially since we have to do 2 Justina reviews because I was a jerk and needed to go watch Supergirl and The Flash last week.
That's right.
I will own it. So my apologies to Justina for not having time for your review last week. That's on me. So to make it up to you, hopefully, Justina, we're going to do 2 of reviews last week and this week.
Right.
To hopefully make it up to you.
So we have a big Justina segment.
So yes, we do.
Today.
So that'll be at the end. But first, let's get right into it with The Walking Dead. East.
Men.
Eastman?
No, I'm just saying East.
Okay. East.
There was a huge Eastman vibe to Morgan in this episode, though. So
I was saying Eastman Kodak. What? No.
no, wasn't Eastman his name? That guy?
I don't know.
That guy that imprisoned him?
I don't know. You could be right. I don't know for
Okay.
sure. I'll take your word for it. Let's go with it.
I think that was his name. But anyway.
Anyway, this teleplay was by Channing Powell, directed by Michael E. Satrazemis. Yes. So what's our A, B, and C for this, Karen?
I gave it a tough act to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Getting quote unquote saved.
Saved.
Which is totally yours because I didn't put one there. And then Maggie is just sick about her haircut, which is just horrible of me to write, but...
Maggie and the haircut of doom.
Yeah, everyone was all up in arms about that online, but it made sense to some of us because of the comics.
Right.
So...
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. They could be, of course, Walking Dead has, changed things before, so it's not set entirely in stone. They could be just throwing us a little scare.
That's right.
So, although my wife seems to think, miscarriage, total.
Yeah.
So, not to make light of that rather uncomfortable subject.
I know.
I have to tread carefully here because it's
it
very
is
delicate.
The Walking Dead, and I have to say, if you watch The Talking Dead as we do, Yvette Nicole Brown said something very, very wise.
Which was?
On The Talking Dead. If you watch a soap opera, you can't get mad if they're kissing. So if you watch a zombie show, you can't get mad if people die or if bad things happen.
Right. Exactly. And I love it. And I kind of love the kind of hypocrisy where, you watch zombies getting killed, people getting arrows through the eye, and like, oh, that's great. You get on the little touchy subject of miscarriage, and it's just like,
right,
scandal.
Right. They're not exactly in the best conditions ever. They don't have good health care. There's going to be issues. Even if it's not a miscarriage, there's going to be trouble probably with a lot of pregnancies and there's danger out there. So,
I mean, you saw how hard it was just to get some prenatal vitamins from Maggie.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it might be a touchy subject. I get that. But it's not something that wouldn't happen. So they're being real, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But hopefully it works out, and hopefully it's just a little scare.
Right. So if you don't want to touch on it, Maggie's just sick about her haircut. Let's just I'm cool. Okay.
I can talk about anything. I just don't want to offend everybody out there.
Right.
So.
Well, it happened on the show, and we discussed the show, so.
So consider yourselves officially warned by this. I'm putting it out there right now.
We talk about whatever happens on the show.
Exactly.
Let's just
I'm not going to shy away from it, but I did want to be respectful.
Right.
Okay. So, tough act to follow.
Right. Can I just say something right up front?
Mm-hmm.
How stupid of them is it for everybody just to go after Carol?
That drove me nuts.
Right.
I posted this, I was doing my live tweeting, of course, and this is one of the things I was ranting about. I felt like I was waiting for Oprah to come out and go, you get to go after Maggie. You get to go after Maggie. Or you get to go after Maggie.
Right.
So, go after Carol. Sorry.
Right, Carol.
Yeah,
I know
you get to go after Carol. You get to go after Carol.
Right. Who did they leave back? I mean, everybody went after Carol.
Everybody gets to go after Carol.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I thought it was just this big comedy.
Yeah.
That didn't need to be.
Even Morgan went after Carol. Why would Morgan go after Carol?
I know. Morgan hates Carol.
Right.
But unless he's thinking he's bringing her around.
But how is he going to do that out on the road? And
I don't know.
Wouldn't he want her gone?
Well, no, I think, now that I think about it, Rick went out after her first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he went out there to make sure Rick didn't go around killing everybody.
Again, what does he care?
It's Morgan.
Right.
Morgan inserts himself and feels like he has to be the conscience of the group.
I guess.
Which typically means you're going to die, as Chris Hardwick points out repeatedly
on
Talking Dead. But somehow Morgan's still alive, beating the odds.
Right. And we'll have to see whether Chris Hardwick shows up for Talking Dead tonight.
Right.
Because he did say he might not show up,
Well, yeah.
depending upon who dies.
I'm not sold that Daryl's going to die.
I'm not either. They throw all kinds of stuff at us. So.
I think it's just they're trying to scare everybody.
So you think it's Glenn?
I do think it's Glenn. I'll call my shot now. I think it's Glenn.
Okay.
We'll see if I'm right tonight.
I do think there's an outside shot. It's Daryl.
There is, but and I mentioned this to you before the podcast. He got a shoulder wound. I can't see him getting a shoulder wound and then getting killed off.
Right. I see what you're saying. I really do.
It just seems like, a little, I don't know. It doesn't flow right to me. It just something about me as a writer or whatever. It's like, that doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Sure.
So
I get it.
I think it's going to come out of nowhere. You're going to think it's Daryl, and then all of a sudden, record scratch,
and
then Glenn. Yeah. So
what's his?
And it's going to be brutal as hell.
Lucille, is that the name of his?
Lucille is the name of the. Yeah.
Okay.
So without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get in because a lot of people don't know what's coming. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So
they all go after Carol.
They all go after Carol.
But let's talk about Carol.
Yes, let's talk about Carol, because Carol, who drives off in her road warrior mobile,
right,
with the spikes on the side,
yeah, which is awesome.
Which I kind of joked about it's like the porcupine mobile.
And porcupine mobile, nice. And if they couldn't tell that she was ready to fight from that, then they deserved what they got.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a car with spikes sticking out of it.
Well,
dude.
and she gave this really lame excuse. She's just she tells the savior guys, she's like, "Oh yeah, this is just one of the cars that was just outside."
Yeah. Come on. She's ready to fight.
And nobody was buying that.
You dummies.
But she still kicked their ass.
Right. Not to mention the fact that it's super hot because they're all sweating to death, and she's wearing a big ass coat.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
She could take off that coat.
Yeah, apparently the savior guys aren't quite as smart as they would like to think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Carol gets out of the car. She's got a rosary in her hands, and she's playing up the act again that we saw here a couple episodes ago.
Right. With the other minions, the girl minions.
Yeah, exactly. Alicia Witt, and she's just going I'm sorry. I was just leaving, driving. I'm Nancy. What does she say? She's Nancy from Montclair.
Right.
Which is just whatever.
Yeah.
And, I just do, go out, do this all the time or whatever.
So nervous. She moves from place to place.
Yep.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, boom, here comes an Uzi right out from under her sleeve.
Right. Which, by the way, and I'm not saying this out of my brain. They mentioned this on Talking Dead as well. We saw her messing with the coat, and we think she's doing something else with the coat, but she is sewing the gun into the coat.
Yes.
And it was definitely us getting the hint that she's going out to do something.
Yeah, but we didn't know quite sure what she was doing.
Exactly. But wow. I mean, they put it all together for us, but...
I mean, she was prepared.
Right.
She expected somebody to confront her.
Exactly. Now, she did tell them, don't do this.
Right.
She warned them, right. Don't do it.
She didn't want to kill him.
Right. And what I liked is, the guys that were left, they were coming after her. Mm-hmm. She ended up impaling that one.
That was the other thing I wanted. I more than the Uzi, I love the fact that she used that spike by shoving it through the car.
Yep.
Through that guy.
Yep.
I thought that was
he was coming after her.
And Carol seems to be as traumatized as she is, she's so resourceful.
Right.
Now.
Right. Exactly.
And she made, that was a perfect example of that.
And I think she realizes these guys, if they're going to come after me, they're going after Alexandria. And they made it clear they were going after Alexandria when they talked to her.
Right.
So I'm going to protect my people.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was going to kill all of them. And then she sees the guy's foot. I mean, she's so alert to everything around her. And the guy says, no.
She's Batcarol.
Right, Batcarol, exactly.
She's Batcarol. She's in Batcarol.
Carol Ninja. She sees the guy, and the guy goes, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm coming out.
I'm good here.
Right.
I'll just stay right here. Thank you.
Right. And really, she only leaves one guy.
Right.
And that guy ends up running away. And we end up not knowing what happens to Carol.
Yeah, but all we find out is that there's a blood trail.
Right.
She takes off running somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Rick and Morgan show up in their buddy cop movie,
right,
they pull over and they're like, oh, Morgan's just, concerned, but Rick is just like, hey, Carol, my girl, all right, way to go.
Yeah.
Big ups.
Yeah.
For Carol. And then,
well, Morgan's not thrilled about it, but
no,
Rick is
proud. He's like a proud brother or something. Yeah, that's, and Morgan points out, you kicked her out, right?
Yeah, and he does say that, would you have approved of what she did
Mm-hmm.
way back, those other killings? And he says yes. Almost with no hesitation, yes. She did the right thing back then. And I think that's a symbol of how far he's come in that time. Yeah,
well, because Rick is essentially, whether he wants to admit it or not, he's adopted a lot of Shane-isms.
Mm-hmm.
Since
he has.
He evolved, or devolved, depending on your point of view.
Evolved to fit his circumstances.
Right, to adapt to his surroundings.
Right,
yes.
And that's what needed to be done in those circumstances. Carol did what needed to be done.
She adapted too, so yeah, it's just Carol went through her evolution and Rick went through his evolution. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Rick's was longer in coming.
Right.
So now they go off and they run into this other guy. And here's what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
The guy they run into on the farm.
Yeah.
The Kingdom?
I don't know. I haven't read that far ahead.
Okay, he's got armor on, like a guy from the Kingdom. Right.
There's a guy coming up who's got a really cool
pet.
Yes. I did see that, but because I was flipping through.
Well, okay.
But I haven't read that part yet.
That's in the comics, definitely.
Yeah.
But
so I'm hoping we get the pet.
Well, that's going to be problematic on the screen, obviously.
I don't know. They could do some things. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll sure. See. I mean, they could get a trained pet. I'm not going to say anything about it.
We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah.
That's season 7 stuff. So
sure.
Yeah, and we don't go too far.
And it was just a hint, I think, but it was definitely that type of armor. That kind of. I mean, that guy is a badass, as it was. So we'll see. I mean, he'd be a match for Negan, definitely. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it sounds like I got a lot of reading ahead of me, so I can get up on this stuff. But yeah, I'm trying not to go too far because then I don't want to end up forgetting. So I'm trying to stay relatively current with the show.
All
so
right.
I read little it typically one season of The Walking Dead takes about one of these. I got The Walking Dead 12 issue hardcovers.
Okay.
So volumes.
Right.
So it typically takes about between a volume and a volume and a half per season.
Okay.
So
cool.
Just in case anybody's wondering how much they need.
People might be actually.
Yeah. So if you go to like Barnes and Noble or something, and you go to their graphic novel section, and they have these hardcover volumes that are like 12 issues in a volume. That's what you need to do.
Cool. Or you can get them at your library.
Right. Or you can get them digitally online
at Comixology.
Comicsology, exactly.
That's
so
right.
typically when there's all kinds of Walking Dead sales. There's actually one going on, I think, at the moment.
Oh, nice.
So
On
99
Comicsology?
on Comicsology, 99 cent per Walking Dead comic sale.
Because of the finale, the season finale.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Yep. All right. So that's a little side there.
All right.
So getting
So now
saved.
the other, the other group. Yeah.
So we have the Carol Rescue Patrol.
Yeah. Now, why does Daryl go out?
Daryl frustrates me so much this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's making a lot of stupid decisions.
Very angsty. Isn't he very angsty this season?
Well, I think right now he's upset because of Denise dying, and he's not thinking clearly.
With his crossbow.
Right.
That
and with getting his crossbow taken away. Oh no! And they lost his motorcycle.
People have gotten the better of him too many times this season.
Right. And then we know he's got feelings for Carol, but we just don't know how.
Yeah.
Because they've been deliberately vague about that.
Yeah, I'm guessing at the moment, even if he has more feelings for her, they're being treated like big sister.
Right. He's protective more than he is like romantic.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if he might feel more for her than that.
Yeah, we don't know. They've been deliberately vague about Daryl's sexuality. I have the theory that he's asexual.
Yeah, me too. He just doesn't think like that right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think right now after losing Denise, and this is just my theory, I think he is worried he doesn't want to lose Carol.
Right.
On top of it.
Right.
So he's going to that's it. I'm going to control the situation. I'm going out, bringing her back. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. Whether that's a good plan or not, whether that respects what Carol wants,
it doesn't at all.
It doesn't really, no. It's just he's putting his own feelings above hers.
Right.
Because she did say, don't try to come after me.
Yeah, but everybody did.
I know. And, I would laugh at, she's out there, and then all of a sudden this mob of Alexandrians and whatnot, they're all there, and she just looks over and goes, oh, you guys.
Right.
Leave me alone. Go away.
Go away.
Take a hint.
You dummies. Wouldn't it be funny if she was somewhere on a beach, lounging with a Mai Tai?
Yeah, exactly, like a hammock or something.
What are you doing here?
Yep. You guys.
Not that would happen, but you know what I mean.
No, but bottom line, Daryl's actions and everybody's reactions to Daryl, because Daryl's gone, I guess we need to go after him.
Yeah, that has caused a huge issue.
Right, and it also gets people in danger because while they're out traipsing through the woods, they get captured.
Right.
By
Saviors.
Dwight. Yeah.
Dwight, yeah.
Yeah, old Dwight. And his little bunch of saviors, and it doesn't look good.
No, Dwight needs to go.
Because Daryl's in the group, and even worse, Glenn is in the group.
Right.
Glenn, why did you not stay home?
Right.
You idiot.
You idiot.
You idiot. You bloated sack of protoplasm.
Right.
For you Ren and Stimpy fans out there. I love
Kitty later.
You coveted my ice cream bar.
I love Ren and Stimpy. John K. forever.
Yep.
Yeah, his actions are going to cause more mayhem and death. And what is that going to do to him? So that's going to cause some repercussions. And it's just stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, he's not making good decisions. And Daryl is he's like, I'm Mr. Lone Wolf. I can't be bothered to wash my hair or get the bangs out of my eyes.
Yeah, his hair's looking really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It's like, dude, get some Pert or something.
They have shampoo. That's the thing.
Exactly. Everybody else showers, not Daryl. No. Can't be bothered.
I don't want to stand near him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's not using deodorant.
Oh.
If he's not washing his hair, he's not using deodorant.
No. Gross. Although I think I'd be worried about much bigger things.
He's the bad boy, so he's so dreamy.
Is he?
Girls love the bad boys.
Is he though?
Not. It's lost on me.
He would be if he.
It's lost on me.
If he took a shower.
I know someone else in my house, namely my wife, really loves Daryl.
Okay.
So.
If he took a shower.
It's a thing. It's her TV crush is Daryl Dixon.
Okay.
So.
There's no one on The Walking Dead that I find cougarific.
Yeah. Not even Glenn or somebody or.
Nah.
No. Okay.
Eugene.
Yeah.
No one.
Especially now he has his Tennessee waterfall.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of haircuts, nice segue.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Well played. Maggie, I guess, is just sick about her haircut.
Yeah, she decides she's going to cut it off.
Yep.
It's getting in the way. She needs something easier to handle.
Time for a change.
And that is part of the comic books. She cuts her hair short.
But this has also been a bit of controversy because some people are taking it that Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie, is leaving the show.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's possible, but the timing in the comics makes perfect sense. So, so I'm not sold on it.
I'm not either.
They've tried to say no, that's not the reason why.
Right.
She got the haircut.
Right.
But
in fact, she has said that's not why.
Right.
So.
But you can't trust anything anybody says on this show.
No, we won't know anything until they actually air it tonight.
Yeah, they're all lying liars of lies.
That's right, lying liars of lies. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, she is with, what's the girl's name? I can't remember.
Oh, Enid.
Enid, thank you.
Yeah. Dine spelled backwards.
Ooh.
You ever caught that? Dine spelled backwards is Enid.
So she's with her, and the stomach cramps come. And
well, she's the one who gives Maggie the haircut.
Right. And the stomach cramp comes, and
yeah, and so we think she could be losing the baby. Hopefully, she doesn't.
Right. And then, of course, there's a very ending scene where they're out in the woods, and blam, there's a shot.
Yeah, because Glenn and the setting is for this final scene. Glenn and Michonne are held hostage in the woods. Daryl and Rosita show up, but Dwight and some other dude catch them from behind. Dwight shoots Daryl. Blood spatters into the camera, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. Good shot.
I always love me some blood spatter in the camera.
Yeah, and a non-Nick Taro episode too.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden it goes Sopranos finale and cuts to black.
Right. And you hear Dwight say, he'll be okay.
Yep. And then Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
That is not what happened.
No. But it would have been awesome.
So we're going to find out what happened tonight.
And then all the ladies on Twitter went, screamed at their TVs and took to Twitter and is like, you killed Daryl, you suck, you suck.
Actually, yeah, a lot of them did, but I went, okay, someone's going to die.
Yep.
It's a zombie show. Someone's going to die.
He's not dead.
Yeah. The only one that I didn't like was when Glenn fell off of the dumpster, because that was not how he was supposed to die. And I mean, that would have been a horrible way for Glenn to die.
Yeah. That was the epic Price is Right fail music.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right, Rainey.
You made me take my hand out of my pocket. It got cold. 8.
Oh, I made you work.
Shut up. My hands are cold. 8.
Well,
I gave it 8.
Warm you up, moving them.
Okay, 8 sleeve Uzis is what I gave it.
Okay.
And you gave it?
Not frozen hands and pocket Uzis.
Well, yeah.
I give this one 8.5 out of 10 shared apples in bed because Rishon, a little possibly, Adam and Eve.
I know.
Analogy going on there.
That sure is what it looked like, isn't it? They shared an apple.
Like sharing an apple. Oh,
so they know what's happening. Get it?
Yeah. So
knowledge. Apple.
Michonne is the temptress.
Get it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But but they're all like, the world is ours. We're the team supreme. So, all right, moving
Is he
on.
missing a rib?
Yeah, maybe.
How much for a rib? Pour it in my hand for a dime.
Rib witch. Sorry,
Okay.
Simpsons rib.
Yeah.
Rib witch. Look it up.
Supergirl.
Supergirl, big episode of Supergirl.
Yep. I think it's
Obviously,
my favorite episode this week.
Since we shafted poor Justina last week.
That's right.
But so, World's Finest. Teleplay by Andrew Kreisberg and Michael Rossi. Directed by Nick Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Not Gomez from the Addams Family.
No. Gomez.
Tish, you spoke French. Oh, sorry.
It's tied with my favorite episode apparently this week.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Wonderful.
Actually, it's my favorite episode of the week.
Good.
I will go on that record for that. But what's your A, B, and C for this?
A is Crisis on Supergirl's Earth.
Mm-hmm.
B is James Don't Call Me Jealous Olsen.
Right.
And C is Loyalty Program for the town.
Oh, okay.
Giving her loyalty
I
back.
thought you were talking about Win, but okay.
No.
Town makes much more sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
the town.
So Crisis on Supergirl's Earth, that obviously refers to a certain Scarlet Speedster coming from the CW, crossing over to Earth CBS.
It means two things, actually. It means that,
Yes.
the multiverse thing, and also the fact that there's a problem on her Earth
Yes.
that he is helping with.
So yeah, Barry shows up, and just in time, because all of a sudden, Kara now has herself an arch enemy of her own creation.
And what a coincidence. There's two villains and two heroes.
Exactly. It's just like, well, we have two heroes. We got to have two villains.
Yes. What a coincidence.
It's a what a quinky dink.
That's
So
right.
yeah, and so Silver Banshee gets herself a playmate in the form of Livewire,
That's right.
who has been one of the more effective villains on Supergirl, in my opinion.
Right. Now, the one thing I did point out is that they're both directional abilities,
Yeah.
Livewire and the Silver Banshee.
Right.
Their abilities are not 360.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they have to aim.
right.
Yes. And yeah.
So
that
it's
kind
not hard to defeat them, really.
that kind of bites them in the end.
Right.
Of the episode. Pretty hard, but yeah.
Right. So I think it's funny that they team up.
Well, to be fair, it's their first year. They're still new at this. Maybe they'll grow as supervillains.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's Siobhan's first episode as a supervillain.
Correct.
So she's really a freshman.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. I just think it's funny that both of them are like,
Right.
ha ha ha, we'll stand towards the mob. And then all they need is for someone to come up behind them and do something and they're defeated.
Exactly. So we get Siobhan, speaking of which, this is after she falls off the building last time. They bring her to the DEO to get checked out for some reason. I don't know why they brought her there, but I guess they figured, well, they needed expert analysis. But yeah, let's bring the budding supervillain to this top secret organization where we keep other supervillains in cages.
Right in the middle of the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand why they have that cell right in the middle of the open floor.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you need a playmate, so here's everyone right out there. Just go in and
yeah, it made for quite the conflagration of badness.
Yeah. So Siobhan, after leaving, finding out that, oh, guess what? She's not an alien after all. She's human,
Right.
has powers somehow.
But with the curse, she finds out from her.
She finds out later. She gets a curse. Like she attacks Kara at Catco, sends her flying out the window.
Mm-hmm. Just in time.
Which I would think that would just totally blow the secret identity right there.
You would think.
Except
for the fact that
right.
Flash has arrived.
The Flash has arrived, shows up, and he stops her in free fall, even though she doesn't need it because she's Supergirl. She could just landed there, and she would have been fine.
Right.
They introduce themselves, and in a strange turn of events for DC comic superheroes, they don't immediately fight one another.
Right?
This is not the Flash v Supergirl dawn of beatdowns or whatever. This is two superheroes that get along with each other.
Right. Okay, well, here's one thing that I thought about that is that, first of all, he saved her.
Right.
And so she didn't think of him as a threat.
Right.
And then, of course, she's a normal person to him before that because she's just wearing normal clothes, right?
Right.
So he doesn't think of her as a threat. And he goes to put out her clothes and backs off, which I found amusing. So when he catches up with her and they realize that they both have powers, I think there's that moment where they're both kind of gobsmacked with each other.
Right.
And that's what causes okay, we're going to dance around each other until we figure out what's happening. We're not going to fight, sort of thing. And that causes the pause. And by the time the pause is over, they've realized they're both good guys.
Right. And
that they're both goofy.
And they have great chemistry with one another.
Fantastic.
Undeniable chemistry between
which we knew was going to happen.
Benoist and Grant Gustin.
Right.
Yeah, they're terrific together.
Yeah.
James, of course, gets a little jealous, as in your B story, Don't Call Me Jealous.
Right. A little pouty, a little angsty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
he falls back onto the couch and...
Yeah, Kara, who, I've kind of been blowing off a little bit because I've been with Lucy.
Yep.
And all of a sudden,
now he knows how it feels.
Kara's got somebody that everybody thinks is great.
Right.
And James doesn't.
Yep.
So I thought it was pretty cool.
So many cute scenes because of this crossover.
Yes.
The scene where she introduces them and she says, I don't know how to tell you guys this. Okay, I do know how to tell you guys this, but I don't. Okay, I'll just tell you.
Well, I love the moment where Barry shows up with ice cream cones for everybody.
That was so great.
How do you win people over, just super speed off and come back with a series of 4 vanilla ice cream cones for everybody.
Right.
That apparently don't melt.
Right, even though he catches things on fire.
Yeah, and he ran with them, so you think they would fly off the cone.
Right.
But
maybe he held them.
But hey, comic books.
He held them really close.
Or he ran backwards to his back was shielding against wind resistance.
Well, doesn't he have an aura that protects things?
A super speed aura, yes.
Yeah. So if he held them really, really close to his chest.
Yeah, but
I know.
Technically, that ice cream should have been flying
I
off.
get it.
And it shows up with these empty cones in his hands.
I thought the same thing.
But still, it was
a great gag.
It was a great moment, great gag, exactly.
Yeah.
And I loved Kara's reaction to the ice cream cone.
She was so delighted.
Her eyes just was like, you brought ice cream.
I know, she loves it.
That was... And nobody brought her ice cream before, so she thought that was the greatest. And
the same reaction to the fact that she's met someone who likes to eat as much as she does.
Yeah.
Oh, do you like donuts? Yep. Yeah, I like donuts.
Who doesn't love donuts?
Yeah. I know a place.
Yeah, when Titans eat.
Exactly.
Instead of clash. But,
it was great. And we know that he eats. Because that's a running gag over on The Flash, too.
So she's intrigued by him being from another Earth. Barry's intrigued by her because she's an alien from Krypton.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no extraterrestrials as far as he knows.
Right. And nobody can fly and all that stuff, yeah.
Yet. No, Weather Wizard can fly.
Like, she can fly?
Not like she can fly, but...
No. He can cause himself to float
levitate.
on,
Yeah, but
he doesn't have people that can fly like fly.
Not yet.
Right.
There could be. Only because stupid Warner Brothers doesn't let their movie and TV universes play with each other.
Exactly.
So,
I know.
Gur arg.
Yeah.
But
Arg.
yeah, so like Siobhan
That's
ends
the
up going-
other network.
Yeah, I know.
That's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Grr, arg.
Yeah. I was thinking Buffy, but you know, it's Whedon.
Yeah.
So, that's Whedon's company.
Firefly, too.
Yeah. So Siobhan ends up going to a magic shop owned by her aunt to ask about her visions, gets all the like expository background, like, oh, by the way, our family was cursed generations ago by a banshee.
Why did she not know this already? Is my
Exactly.
question.
Yeah, you think like that would have been kind of important.
Right. It would have been a story told
Yep.
down through the ages.
And apparently, if you're wronged by others, Smythe women develop powerful sonic screams. The only way to keep the power from taking over the soul is to kill the person who wronged them.
Yep.
So,
Bad news for Siobhan,
yeah.
because that ain't going to cut it.
Yeah. So Siobhan ends up waltzing right back into the DEO somehow,
Yeah.
which great security there, DEO.
It's like
she can
Star
just-
Labs.
Yeah, apparently you just walk right in and, oh, hey, you know, fantastic. Supervillain in the cell, I'll take one. Thanks. Bye.
Right. Apparently it's like Star Labs and, like this week, the Arrow Cave, which we
Yes.
will get to later.
Well, at least in Arrow, they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
How bad the security
I
is.
agree.
The Arrow Cave. So
Right.
kudos there
Yeah.
for at least owning it.
Right.
But so yeah, Siobhan gets pally with Livewire, and they're like sisters now.
Right.
And Livewire ends up giving Siobhan a makeover.
With the makeup, which explains why she didn't look like the Banshee in the comics, which I liked.
Right. But see, that frustrated me though, because you would think the curse would give her the appearance, and this is why I kind of took off half a point for my score here, because
She didn't become a Banshee.
she didn't become a Banshee, and I have to think that, okay, she's going to spend all her time now in future battles with Supergirl, like, oh, sorry, I got to go get my makeup on.
Maybe she won't, though. Maybe she'll slowly turn into the Banshee.
If that's the case, great. But
Yeah.
for right now, as far as we know,
Right.
she has to sit in front of a makeup mirror and do herself up
Right.
so that she can go off and fight Supergirl.
Right.
Which drove me nuts.
Yeah, a little bit. But
Especially when you have this nice, handy, magical curse.
yeah, that's
explaining
true.
Powers.
But I kind of liked that they explained that makeup as her getting a makeover from Livewire.
Right.
If they're going to do it that way, then
If they're going to do it that way. But it drove me nuts. There are great makeup artists out there. Walking Dead has proven this.
sure,
You can do a cool Silver Banshee makeup
sure,
that looks like a curse.
right. And maybe at least make her skin look like that.
Yes.
In fact, Livewire looks more like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. So anyway, like I said, it's just, yeah, it's something that
That's
it was
nitpicky, though.
It was a nitpicky. I agree, but it bugged me enough.
No, I understand. It bugged me in the pictures. I'm just glad they explained it on the show.
Because I think even Smallville explained it as a curse.
Right.
They got it right.
Right.
Smallville,
Yes.
and Supergirl didn't. So
Right.
yeah. Then we've got the loyalty program.
Right. Now, this comes to the fight at the end.
Yes.
And it was a fight between the two girls and Barry and Kara.
Right.
And they all face off, and the girls start to win.
Yes. The supervillains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
They get the better of them.
one thing I did
Now-
like...
Now they're there to rescue Kat, who's been kidnapped
Right.
by Siobhan.
Right. One thing I did like is when Barry shows up, he says, come on, fight like women.
Yeah,
We all
well,
need
no-
to fight like women.
No, he said we're all women here, right? Or
Right.
something.
Right. And
Yeah.
Kara looks at him and he goes, what? There's more women than men or something.
Yeah, no, he says like I'm outnumbered here. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Might as well. And I love that. He's equal opportunity. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care.
He knows he's outnumbered. He might as well play
Yep.
into it. Lean into it, Barry.
Yeah, pretty much.
And one of the things they do is they take a helicopter and they're going to crash it into this big crowd of people.
Right.
And so Kara has put herself in between the helicopter and the people, and it ends up pushing her in. And this is after...
Well, no, she flies up to intervene between, like, live wires aiming her electric bolt at the helicopter. Kara takes the hit
Right.
to save the helicopter.
Right.
And then ends up plummeting to the ground
Right.
as a result. And that's when they start to swarm after Kara.
Right.
But the National City townspeople...
They realize...
Suddenly they said, oh, I guess we like Supergirl this week.
Well, she did try and save them.
Right. So that one helped out.
And they realized that she was hurt in the process.
They rallied to her side
Yep.
to try to, keep Livewire away.
Yeah. And they snuck up behind two women and electrocuted them.
Right.
Now, here's the funny part is Barry, now he was help with the earplugs.
Yes.
That was pretty much it. Because the first thing he did is he used his electricity on Livewire, who absorbed it.
Right. It's like, don't.
And knocked Flash out almost immediately.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right. So Flash was gone out of the fight.
That was a Flash fail. Yes.
Right. So, and I kind of like that because this is not the Supergirl Flash hour.
No, it's Supergirl's show that Flash is on.
Correct.
So Flash can't just show up and save
the day. Right.
I realized that.
Right. So I kind of dug that, but he also contributed to the success of the mission.
Right.
With the earbuds, he helped buoy her. He gave her that, hey, I was in that place where the town didn't like me.
Now, see, that was good. For those who don't remember, this was referring to when the Rainbow Raider affected him. Mm-hmm. During the Flash versus Arrow crossover.
Right. And he got all like...
And he was all like
whatever.
Evil Flash for like an episode.
Right. So he knew what it was like, and he said, I had to earn their trust back.
So that was a nice callback, and it actually, it kind of connected the two shows a little bit more because they acknowledged that story.
Right.
Which was great. And
he did help in a roundabout way. He didn't help take down the criminals.
Nope.
But he helped Kara, and that I really had respect for the show for doing that. For not saying, hey, Flash has to show up and help the damsel in distress. Why are you doing that? He's waving his Flash action figure at me. And it's not the Funko, it's the action figure.
Yep, the actual action figure.
Yeah. I like Flash.
The Flash TV.
He was really good on this. And we have to mention so many great lines in this episode. They did the meta CW
No, that was pretty clever. Yeah, that Cat, she makes a comment when Kara brings Barry along with James and Wynn, and she makes a comment like, oh, look, you like a nice diversified group of young people that right out of a CW TV show.
Right. Haha.
Because, yes, they do.
Right.
So, yeah, poking fun at CW's like,
It was great.
Skewing, characters.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Lots of funny lines in this. Barry and Kara made a great team. Mm-hmm. James was pouty through the whole thing.
Yep.
Which was funny. I liked Wynn doing this. What is this that you're doing with your face here? Jealousy, thy name is Olsen. When, torturing James was hilarious, I thought.
Right.
And
now we can finally get feel
a little superior.
A little superior to James for a change.
Exactly.
So he was going to make the most of it.
Yep. Good for Wynn, I say.
Yep.
And then of course at the end she makes her move on James.
Right. Yeah, that was a big development. We get this sequence where they go back to Kara invites James back to the apartment. Hey now.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a hey now.
Well, you have the porn music, right? Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, little James back to the apartment, and she finally gets the guts on Barry's advice. Mm-hmm. Not, because before Barry leaves, he advises Kara to like not wait. You know,
Right.
to seize the moment, seize the day, yada yada.
Make your move.
Make your move, don't wait. And so she does.
Lays
And
a big
she lays one
smackaroo
right on him.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is where the record scratch hits. Yeah.
Welcome, Myriad.
Yeah, because James just is like emotionless and frozen. So Kara's just like, it wasn't okay. You know, she gets all insecure
Was it
for a moment.
good?
Was it bad? Was it bad? What? Is it
Was
me?
it too bad? Was it
Is it
too
great?
good?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he gets up and walks out of the apartment and walks into the street. And all of a sudden they notice, like, oh, everybody else in National City is doing the same thing.
Yep.
Straight out of
Which Doctor Who episode?
the Christmas Invasion.
Yep.
It's blood control.
Yep.
Blood control. I love blood control. I haven't seen blood control in years.
However, it is also in keeping with the new Krypton storyline as well. So
Right. But still. Yeah.
I know, I get it.
It's the Christmas Invasion episode.
Yeah.
And so from Doctor Who. So they go out into the street. None turns out to be the big bad, of course, behind these events. And as Karen said, this is what the Myriad Project is.
Right, with the little glowy ball. And Indigo's going to be with him as well.
Yeah, yeah. Because she's in the season finale. Moo-ha-ha-ha-ha.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So rating.
I give it 9 bad boy earbuds because he just keeps saying bad boy and he says,
Yeah.
I should stop saying that.
I love this episode a lot. Like I said, it was only that I took off that half point because of the Silver Banshee look, makeup thing. Wasn't feeling that one, so that's just on me. 9.5 vanilla ice cream cones.
Nice.
Love this crossover. I want to see more. I want to see Kara on the Flash.
Yep.
And we better get that now.
I don't mind if they don't do an Arrow crossover.
Right.
But they are discussing that apparently.
Well, you know, if they can get all 3 shows together,
Sure.
throw in Legends of Tomorrow as well, that'd be great. But
sure, as long as Barry is part of it, because I think he and
well, Barry has to introduce Kara to everybody else.
yeah.
So
There has to be that grounding with him because
they have such chemistry together.
the feel of their shows are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine. One of the things that Emily and I were speculating on is if she ever did go to Arrow, she would have seasonal affective disorder.
And
Why
that's
are you
Emily
always
from-
in a basement?
Emily from Made of Steel.
Right. Why are you always in a basement? Where's the sun here? Why is it always so dark?
Right.
She would just hate it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It would be terrible.
I can't see Kara and Oliver
Right.
together.
Right. It would be terrible.
I could see the Atom and Supergirl together.
Sure.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because they're both such optimistic people.
And goofs.
And goose.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be good.
Yeah.
But Oliver's going to be the downy clowny.
Right. Just
Yeah.
terrible.
Lying to everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I loved her with Grant.
Okay.
Great. Okay. What's next?
Moving on. Yeah, we're got to catch up. Prisoners, episode of Gotham.
Okay.
Prisoners, written by showrunner Danny Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And directed by Scott White.
Mm-hmm.
And what's our A, B, and C?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Or as I like to say, where there's a will, there's a beneficiary.
Exactly.
Which I think is a Groucho Marx line, which I loved. But which it makes a lot of sense.
That's right. B story is Looney Tunes and Escaping Goons.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And C story is Mob Mentality. There isn't really a C story, so that's just speculation on how Falcone will be involved down the road.
Yeah, this episode is essentially 2 stories, as Karen pointed out. It's Gordon adjusting to life in Blackgate prison, and Oswald adapting to his new lifestyle in the Elijah, his father's house.
And then what happens at the end of both of those stories.
Right. So let's do the A story first.
That would be
Where there's a will, there's a beneficiary.
and yeah. No, you can call it that.
No.
Actually, this is what I like to call the episode that makes the Penguin the Penguin.
Right.
And it kind of makes Gordon into what's going to be Commissioner Gordon.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It pushes him that way a little bit more.
Now, I've been kind of frustrated with the Penguin storyline because we haven't really gotten the Penguin for a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been, oh, I'm nice, brainwashed because of what Hugo Strange did to him.
Right.
But in Arkham. So it's understandable, but it's frustrated me because like Oswald's so much better when he's evil.
Sure.
And after a couple episodes, okay, but it's been kind of dragging on a little bit.
Right.
But by the end of this, we get the return of Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of snaps out of it because of the very traumatic effect of his father being killed.
Right.
So,
and the truth will out.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things I speculated on was what? That his brother and sister were not his true brother and sister.
Right. So, yeah. And of course, as soon as Elijah makes the comment, well, I think I'm going to change my will in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Dude, he's not going to make it to see the morning.
He was dead at that moment.
Yeah.
That's like when that period hit that end of that sentence, that's when he died.
X's in his eyes.
Yeah.
If it was a cartoon, it would have had the little cartoon X.
Yeah, and his wacky, evil, stepmom and her kids.
Could they have pulled out any more of the stops?
Oh my God, they were the stepmom sends her daughter to put the moves on Oswald.
Well, that wasn't even the first thing. She brings the paper in to Elijah and says, "Oh, he's a horrible person.
Yeah, but
he's killed people."
Penguin thankfully was smart enough to tell Elijah about that first.
Right. Oswald told him. He outed himself.
And then Elijah, he's understanding, thankfully, about it.
And the reason is, which I found interesting, is that it's in his lineage already.
Right. There's a bit of evil in their lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Which is I guess that's why Oswald's evil, because he inherited it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's part of it.
That's the premise. But
there's both, I think.
Yeah. So we had Melinda. Yeah, Melinda Clarke as Grace, who's generally a sinister character. She's shady in a lot of stuff.
She's so good in this too.
Yeah. And Paul Rubens, of course, Pee Wee Herman playing Elijah. So which is always great to watch. But now he's dead, so we don't get it anymore. But
yeah. Well,
it was fun while it lasted.
He's going to be in the next one.
Yeah.
Laying down.
Yeah, as a corpse.
Right.
Yeah. So Grace and the family, they cook up this scheme to poison Oswald. And
they've been killing Elijah slowly as well, withholding his heart medicine.
But they're just going to outright kill Oswald.
Right.
But unfortunately, Elijah takes the drink and he dies. Right. And Grace is like, oh, crap.
Right.
A little too soon.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's going to look, there's got to be but now they're going to pin it all on Penguin, of course.
Sure. They're going to try.
Hey, this killer moved into our house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to stick, though.
No, because, in Oswald, as we mentioned, this death snaps him right out of it. It's the no moment.
I have a feeling that at least one of them, Mom, is not going to make it.
Grace.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with Sasha and Charles.
Charles is a few hammers short of a tool set.
Well, I could have told you that.
Yeah, but I'm just not you, Charles.
The other one.
The kid.
I thought you were talking about me. I would have just...
No, I love when the daughter comes down and she's like, he's not buying it after she tries to seduce him. And Charles is like, should I give it a try? It's so funny.
Yeah.
No. But it's funny anyway.
Yeah. So that's what we got.
No, you dum-dum.
Gordon, meanwhile, at Blackgate Prison. Yeah, thank you.
I loved the montage at the beginning in the laundry room.
Yeah, because we get the sense of this repetitive day after day. Gordon does the same thing. He does laundry. He
He gets his next day's clothes. He
Right.
goes into his cell. He lays down. He goes to sleep. He wakes up. He goes and does the laundry. He gets the
Right.
next day clothes.
Yep.
I mean, they show the same thing over and over. And you can't help but feel horrible.
And if you ever had any doubts about wanting to go to prison, this might just totally put you off prison.
Scared straight.
Yeah, hopefully.
Until, of course, the evil warden pulls him aside.
Yeah, this guy named warden named Carlson Gray. He's played by Ned Bellamy. He transfers Gordon to this new section dubbed The World's End.
Right.
And no, it's not that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost movie.
Right. It's general population,
Yeah,
which...
it's supposedly there's going to be no police custody there to protect him.
Right. And, that was the problem is...
But it's essentially, it's like a roach motel. Mm-hmm. Roaches
once you come in...
They don't check out.
You're never checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way out is in a body bag.
Yeah.
And for him, it's going to come quick because half the people that are in there, he put there.
Yeah. And apparently Warren's all tight with Commissioner Loeb.
Ex-Commissioner Loeb.
Yeah, ex-Commissioner Loeb. But yeah, it's all a big conspiracy. They're out to get Gordon. They're,
Yeah, he's made sure that he has enough of the guards in his pocket so that they'll leave him alone. And
it's not looking good for Gordon. Bullock shows up, lays on Gordon that, Lee lost the baby.
Right.
So,
what are the odds of that being true?
I'm not buying it. Although he says that she's laying low.
He says that she left town. Now,
Right.
I think she said that she lost the baby to everyone and left town.
Right.
What I think happened is that she's hiding the baby
Right.
from everyone.
Right.
That's what I think happened.
I think too.
Okay.
I agree. I don't think that she lost the baby.
Okay.
But obviously Gordon, as far as Gordon knows, she did. So that bothers him. He feels like he's got to find Lee.
And that it's his fault, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. Bullock's trying to meet. He ends up meeting with Falcone, which we'll get into a little bit to see if he can get some help. This movie night, they end up staging Gordon's death during a movie night.
Right.
This is where we get the Looney Tunes and Escaping Goons, I'm presuming.
Yes.
Yeah, because we get the Looney Tunes music as they're watching the cartoon before
Synergy.
which I love.
Yeah, because they own Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. So kudos there. This one guy, the guy that was supposed to kill Gordon, gets shoved aside by this other guy who goes all stabby on Gordon with a fake knife.
Right.
Fake blood.
Right.
And he's all mad that, you stole my kill, you suck.
Right. And the guard who was on their side calls for the body bag.
Right. So the guard is helping out because the guard is apparently a straight guy.
Right.
Or, he's on the up and up.
Right.
So
and we failed to mention the kid who was on Gordon's side, who took up for Gordon.
Puck.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, he had to kind of sacrifice him inside the prison. He had to leave him alone. He couldn't save him inside the prison. He had to let him get beaten up pretty badly.
Yeah, there was a beatdown, and Puck ends up in the infirmary. So when Gordon's death is faked, they go to the infirmary to retrieve Puck.
Yeah, he goes back for him.
Yeah, he goes back for him.
Which was incredibly nice of him.
Yep.
But
that's Gordon. That's the Gordon we want to see.
Right. Unfortunately.
Now Gordon talked about being set up.
Mm-hmm.
But he was there and helped kill Gallivan.
Right.
So I found that I was a little frustrated.
But he was set up for the murder that they got him on, which was the guy in the apartment.
Right.
Where he got caught. That was the murder.
That being set up.
Right.
Yeah. Although he still killed a guy. So really
Sure.
he deserves to be in prison.
Well, that he said that.
Yeah.
That's what he
It's just-
said.
But he's just set up for a different guy.
Right.
Right.
And what Harvey was saying is that he needs to be out saving the city,
Yeah.
which is true. He does. I mean, Gallivan was a horrible guy, but he didn't kill the cop.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
he killed the bad guy.
He killed a bad guy. So
Yeah.
if he's going to kill anybody, at least he's killing bad guys.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So so they leave town. They're on the outskirts of town when we leave them. They're on a bridge with Falcone there. And how interesting is it that Falcone's back in play? all of a
Right.
sudden? Yeah. So we get the return
It's
of
kind
John
of good to see him, actually.
Doman. Yeah, John Doman is Carmine Falcone. I was worried we were going to see the last of him, but
Yeah, me
thankfully
too.
the Roman is back.
I know. I like seeing him back.
Yeah. So he gives Gordon a safe house in Gotham to clear his name and find Lee. Unfortunately, Puck ends up dying in the truck
Yeah.
and that's where we're kind of left
Now,
off.
again, that gives him more impetus. It's another thing that's going to make him into Commissioner Gordon
Right.
is he sees that another person has fallen victim to the city,
Yeah.
to the brutality of Gotham. And he is part of that brutality in this case. He was directly involved with it. And I hurt so much for him.
Mm-hmm.
It makes my heart hurt. Even though it's a show,
You're all verklempt.
I am. And I love Falcone in this instance because he gives them this choice. He says, I can give you a new identity and let you go, or we can go back into the city. And he says, I got to fight from inside the city. I got to do it from inside the city. And he says, okay, we'll make it work. Now, that's my question is, what is this going to do? How is he going to be indebted to Falcone?
Because he owes him a favor now.
Right. Now,
You know,
some of it was...
Harvey owes him the favor because Harvey made the offer.
He still owes. James still owes him too.
James is still going to owe him too.
Yeah, of
so
course.
they're both going to be indebted.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we know Falcone isn't the same guy that he was.
No, but he's still got to be up to no good
Of course.
because it's the Carmine freaking Falcone.
Well, this might give him the leg up to come back.
Yeah,
because-
maybe he's going to take reclaim his throne.
Sure. It's not like
As-
Butch is really...
A threat. Yeah, he could take over from Butch,
Tabitha would be more of a threat than Butch is.
but he get Tabitha out of the way,
Sure.
then it's his. So rating,
I give it 8 crazy mixed up kids.
nice. You crazy mixed up kids.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
what she says when she tries to seduce Oswald. We're just 2 crazy mixed up kids.
Now, typically, I hate prison movies where the guy's been framed and set up.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those kinds of stories to begin with. And then you had the penguin not being the penguin.
Right. So you were irritated.
So you got Gordon not going after bad guys, and you got the penguin not being the penguin. So I was not a big fan of this episode. I gave it only 7.5 peppermints in a medicine bottle.
No problem.
So not my
I
favorite
think that
episode.
you'll be happy going forward, though.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I liked it because
Gotham's
of the
Gotham's been a bit stronger this season.
much stronger, I
Yeah,
think.
so hopefully.
I liked the montages and stuff in this one.
Right.
The imagery and stuff. Okay.
Moving on to Lucifer.
Pops.
Pops, written by Alex Katznelson and Mike Costa, directed by Tara Nicole Weir. And what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Mole, mole. Oh, baby. Say, we gotta go. Yeah. Mole, mole. Sorry. And then
More.
the B story is just so uninspired. I wrote stage mom. It's horrible. I couldn't think of another way to say it.
You can do better.
I know. It was bad.
All right, what's our C story?
Her new BFF. And then bonus, the devil made her try it.
Nice.
I'm bad on this one. It's, I have to say Mole Mole was the only inspired
Okay.
on here. Can I say that that's good enough for all
Sure.
three? Okay, good.
Let's go. I don't think anybody's going to criticize you, and if they do, they're going to have to talk to me.
Okay, they're gonna have to
Okay.
go through you.
Exactly. So anybody got a problem with that, come to me.
Okay, I especially liked Mole Mole. So
Okay. Moly Moly is good. All right. So Moly Moly, referring to
the restaurant and
yeah.
all that.
So we have this restaurant where this famed chef drops dead after apparently being poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer is disappointed because he's a huge fan of the chef's tamales.
That's
apparently. Right. Timing indicates, that he was likely poisoning his own restaurant, but the employees saw him as a father figure they called Pops.
Right.
Hence the title.
Mm-hmm.
So Chloe decides to investigate every employee, but who shows up at that moment but her mother, Penelope.
Played by Rebecca De Mornay.
Yes, so that Rebecca De Mornay from Tom Cruise films and also from The Three Musketeers
Feds.
with Kiefer Sutherland.
That's right.
Who is kind of unrecognizable now.
Yeah, she is a bit.
I don't know what kind of work she had done, but
she was also in Jessica Jones, right?
No, what was she play?
The
Is
mom.
she the stage mom in Jessica? Oh, right.
Right?
Yes, good call.
Mm-hmm.
I did not make that connection. Kudos.
Well, when I looked her up, it was there.
Yeah. Well, you did your homework.
I didn't pull it up.
I didn't do that homework, so kudos there. But so she was kind of unrecognizable for me.
She is. I told my husband that was her.
Yeah.
And he was like,
What?
That's not her. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's one of those sad, like, what happened?
Right.
And you feel bad. You're like, what happened? You used to be like so hot.
I think some of it is she's had work done and it's not good.
No.
She looks plastic on her face.
And I realize she's older. It's not the 80s and 90s anymore, but
she shouldn't have had work done.
No.
I think she should have aged gracefully.
Just age more naturally, you would have looked a lot better.
Right.
So don't always get that plastic surgery, kids.
Right, I agree.
So Chloe's kind of thrown off guard by this, of course. Penelope ends up inviting Chloe and Lucifer for dinner that night, which goes so well.
What am I doing?
You're shaking your head.
Yep.
Yep.
Actually, it was kind of funny that she was there.
Yeah.
It made me uncomfortable to watch.
Right.
Not that I have a mother like that.
Right.
But I can't imagine.
So it doesn't go well. Chloe gets upset. Everybody's upset.
Oh, and the reason is...
Yeah.
Lucifer shows up with the son of the guy who dies, right? And
this guy named Manny.
Right.
I'm sorry. He's what is his name? I forget his name here.
Junior.
This Junior, yes, just call him Junior.
Oddly
enough, yeah. So he's a recovering drug addict, and and then there's this sous chef Anne, who wants to assume control of the restaurant if the son's out of the picture.
Right.
So
and she ends up being the killer.
Yeah.
Done and done.
But Lucifer invites the son over.
Right. Who makes dinner, which is great. And they're sitting around the table. And what happens is he doesn't have a filter. So he ends up letting out all their secrets, which the mother is just delighted to hear all this because she loves the mess that's going on.
Right.
And they end up sending Trixie to bed. Here, eat your cake in bed.
Right.
And, okay, I'll eat it in bed.
And I love that they gave her this big chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Which was a nice shout out to the previous episode.
Again, I think that's going to be a recurring thing.
I hope so, because I think it's hilarious.
Right. And then everything just goes...
Not just a slice. They give her the whole freaking cake.
It goes to hell in a handbasket after that because it's, you kissed him? You're going to sleep with him? What? And so it was funny that that it was he had no filter and he was trying to stir things up at this dinner.
Right.
He was literally just stirring everything up, and he didn't get that they were uncomfortable by this. He loved it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Lucifer thrives on chaos, so
Yeah.
this is perfect. Yeah. His whole thing, interestingly enough, especially with Chloe, is just to be brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of why it knows it's going to cause all kinds of problems, and he kind of gets off on it
Yeah,
a little bit.
he loves it. You kissed him?
Yep.
So is that why you're not going to sleep with
Yeah,
me?
me. Yeah, he talks about being like, and yeah, of course that gets questions from Mom. Dan's just like, wait a minute, what?
You're sleeping with both of them? No,
Yep.
I'm not sleeping with either of them.
Yeah. So
It's funny.
that is funny. So
and of course, Mom tries to take
right.
Trixie to an audition, which Chloe is very much against.
Yeah, Chloe. Yeah, Chloe gets a call from her Trixie's babysitter, races home, finds Penelope setting up Trixie for this audition, which pisses Chloe off severely. There's an argument, of course. Trixie gets upset by the argument
And wanders off.
and wanders, like takes off.
Right.
Yeah, she bolts and she heads straight for Lux.
Right.
I don't know how that little kid got all the way to cross town.
She called an Uber. That's how they found her, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes.
Hilarious.
Which, again, risky, taking the Uber.
Sure.
So, yeah, not cool. Not cool there, Trixie. And ends up meeting up, and this is where we get our first crossover with Trixie and Mazikeen,
Right.
which is a really interesting pairing.
It is. I actually enjoyed their interaction with each other very much.
I love that Mazikeen was going to serve Trixie a drink, and Trixie's like, that's a Shirley Temple, right? Yeah,
And
let's go with that.
She puts a cherry in it. Sure.
Yeah, sure. So she was going to serve her straight alcohol. Didn't care.
Right. I'm sure it was whiskey.
Yeah. Now, this follows up on a previous scene where we had Mazikeen going to Dr. Linda, who saying that she wants to be more normal to fit in better on Earth.
Yeah, because it looked like she was stuck there.
So Dr. Linda suggested that she embrace her surroundings and make some friends outside of Lucifer. Mm-hmm. And Maze got pissed and stormed out.
Right.
But then she meets Trixie.
Right. And they become friends.
They become friends, and so she goes back to Dr. Linda at the end of the episode. Says, "Hey, I made a friend, albeit she's 8 years old.
A girl who wandered into the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it was cute. And I like when Chloe comes to the bar to pick her up.
Right.
And Trixie says, "Yeah, I met," and she points at Maze and she says, "Maze, you can, I'm Mazikeen, but my friends call me Maze." And she says, "Maze," like that. And then Chloe says, "Thanks, Maze. I didn't say you could call me Maze."
Yeah, so apparently Mazikeen likes Trixie a lot better than she likes Chloe.
She does not like Chloe. Well, we know why she doesn't like Chloe.
Well, yeah, because Lucifer finds her attractive.
Right.
So there's jelly. She's all jelly.
Yes, that's right.
More jealous than Jimmy Olsen. Oh, James.
Right. Jimmy, don't call me James, don't call me
Jimmy Olsen.
Jealous Olsen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's good reason, because at the end of the episode, someone gets a little tipsy.
Yeah, that was interesting. Chloe shows up at Lux looking for Lucifer.
Mm-hmm. Well, she gets a text.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
From her ex, but actually written by Malcolm.
Right, because Malcolm, in the scene before that, Malcolm overpowered Dan. Dan's like, he's going to arrest Dan, or Dan was going to arrest Malcolm.
Right.
But Malcolm overpowers him and then gives him a serious beatdown.
Right.
Knocks him unconscious. Then he picks up Dan's cell phone because he's a dick.
Right.
And breaks up with Chloe via text.
Right. And then Chloe heads over to Lux, and she comes on to Lucifer while she's
already hammered
drunk.
by this point.
Totally hammered.
Totally hammered.
And Lucifer turns her down.
Well, Lucifer does the right thing. Well, which is the wrong thing for the devil, I would think.
Right.
But he consoles Chloe. She tries to kiss him, but Lucifer stops her.
Mm-hmm.
And Chloe suddenly realizes how drunk she is.
Yep.
And then she passes out on his shoulder.
Yep. Now, I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
He got burnt in this episode.
Right.
So what does that mean for my theory? Do you think it's blown?
Well, that was indirect.
Yeah, and he was with Chloe.
Because he went in to rescue Chloe from the flames.
Yeah, so it was because of Chloe.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I'm wavering.
It's not looking good.
No, it's not.
It's not a theory breaker.
Right.
But it's putting it on shaky ground.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And then the second thing is, how cute was he in that green t-shirt? He was adorable, right? Someone threw up on his suit, and so he had to put on a t-shirt from the restaurant. It was adorable.
Right. Yep.
Great. Okay.
So rating.
I give it 8.5. Oh, 8 2s.
8 2s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what Trixie was wearing.
Yeah. What the hell was she wearing? I felt bad for Trixie.
It looked like she was trying to make her look like a fairy princess or something.
I hope she got some chocolate cake out of that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. A whole one.
So I give this one 8 breakup texts.
Very nice.
So, all right, moving on. The Flash. Episode 17, Flashback. Get it? Flashback.
Mm-hmm.
This is written by Aaron and Todd Helbing,
mm-hmm.
who tend to write some pretty significant episodes of The Flash. Directed by Alice Troughton, which is a name, being a Doctor Who fan, that struck my... Now, she's not related to Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor.
She's not?
No.
Oh.
But she did direct a number of Doctor Who episodes and Sarah Jane Adventures episodes.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, she's for those who don't know, if you're a Doctor Who fan, she directed the episodes The Doctor's Daughter.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, that is a big one. With David Tennant's future wife,
mm-hmm.
Georgia Moffat, daughter of the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison.
Right.
And then she also directed the episode Midnight, which is a good one with Donna.
Yeah.
It's a Tennant spotlight. But
right.
Yeah, during that era. The episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures she directed was Eye of the Gorgon, which was I think that was the first episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and The Gift. So if you're...
Very nice.
I want to check those out. This episode here features the return of, as we kind of go back to season 1, we time travel back to season 1, where we've got Andy Mientus, I think is the name, Mientus, as the Pied Piper, and we get the return of Rick Cosnet as Eddie Thawne.
That's right.
So what's our A, B, and C?
All right, you might sense a theme here.
Yeah.
Gotta go back in time.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right. And then, because you gotta have a wraith. Because you gotta have a wraith. And then,
baby. Oh, sorry.
Gotta keep moving on. Is the last one.
Nice. So a lot of gottas in there.
A lot of gottas.
Yeah. But there was a ton of Back to the Future references in this one.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. So the Gotta Go Back in Time, we've got...
that's, of course, the main story.
Yeah, that's the main story, where Barry goes back in time to when Hartley Rathaway, the Pied Piper, attacked the team. So it's like episode 11, I think.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah, way back. So like halfway through the first season. He changes places with his past self in order to get to talk to Harrison Wells.
Can I just do this real quick? He is not good at this.
No. Barry, stop going back in time.
Yeah.
You screw it up every time you go back there.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
If you decide to go back, take someone with you who knows what they're doing.
Take Rip Hunter.
Yeah.
Someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable than you.
Because he has the worst time knocking himself out. Why doesn't he just explain to himself?
Right.
Dude, I got to take care of something. Can you just lay low for a day or so?
Because they just showed up together eventually in the episode anyway.
Right.
So, yeah. But so Barry's looking for the Reverse Flash's help because remember, Wells is really Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash.
Right.
At this point in the timeline.
He's trying to trick him.
He wants the Reverse Flash's help in solving this Speed Force equation.
Right.
Which is 3x2 9YZ 4A. But just saying.
You're such a nerd.
Johnny Quick. So, yeah. And he even wrote that on the board. So
nice.
He had the equation. That was one of the cool things that when he's writing on that whiteboard, if it was in reverse, but you can make out the 3x2 9YZ 4A.
Very nice.
So, yeah, that was a major Flash geek moment there.
You were fanboying?
I was fanboying a little bit over that one.
Okay.
Yep, I was.
That's
I admit
good.
it. All right. Problem, though, there's a time wraith, which is also from a Doctor Who episode, Father's Day.
Well, come on.
But it's interesting, isn't it?
Sure.
We're getting a lot of we get two.
Come on, it's a timey-wimey thing.
I know, but a time wraith, come on. That's the Reapers from the Doctor Who episode Father's Day.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
It's so obvious, though.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Okay. So a time wraith follows Barry back to the past. Wells deduces Barry's deception, of course, because he's not an idiot,
right,
and attempts to kill him.
Right. Now, how come we haven't seen a time wraith before? Because
good question.
Okay.
Good question.
Wouldn't there be one behind Wells?
You would think that when Barry went back in time to stop his mom's death, originally, created that big wormhole, over Central City, the Singularity.
There would be more than one wraith, maybe, or when he went back to stop the tidal wave, or.
But so now at first I thought that wraith was the Black Flash, which I was just like, that would be awesome,
right? But not so much.
Not so much.
It kind of looked like it because it had the Flash's face.
Right, but yeah, it wasn't the Black Flash. No, I was disappointed by that. I know. Oh, well. So Barry convinces Eobard that his plan succeeds in the future, but in order to maintain that timeline, he's got to help Barry become faster.
Right.
So you got to help me, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So the wraith shows up at the lab. Caitlin and Cisco are forced to accept help from a captured Hartley. And this is where you're.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, the Pied Piper. Yeah, they break the Pied Piper out of prison. So right here is where the timeline diverges again.
Mm-hmm.
So, the timeline keeps getting altered. They're never going to get back to the original timeline.
Nope, never. Well, they can't now.
Well, no. If they go back far enough, they'd have to change the initial tweaking of it to change everything.
Right.
But of course, we got Rip Hunter and everybody else mucking around with time.
Right.
So it's all fluid.
Yeah. Really can't.
It's all timeline fluid.
Well, right now?
Yeah.
Okay. This blows my mind. But if you think about it, this is how it was supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
How they're mucking about with it is how it was supposed to be. Because that's how it's happening.
Right. It's a bootstrap paradox.
Right. They were supposed to go back and change it to this.
Right. It happened because it already happened in the future.
Right.
And came back in time to happen.
Right.
Yeah. That's a bootstrap paradox.
Right.
So
that's how the timeline was supposed to happen because it happened.
Right.
They were supposed to live through that twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is also explained in Dr. No, okay. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Moving on. I will shut up now. All right. What have we got to get moving on?
That's Iris.
Oh, okay.
She has a date and she's angsting over Eddie.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Barry does while he's back there. he confronts Eddie and records this video of him. Says, like, talk about Iris like you're never going to see her again.
Mm-hmm. For a birthday
wink.
video.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more.
Right.
Because you die, sort of. Yeah.
And I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah, so he records this video, and then later, at the end of the episode, Barry shows her the video. Says he made it as a video montage way back when, but of course we know differently.
Well, he did way back when, kind of.
Yeah, but still.
I know.
Yeah.
It was sweet.
It's not the way back when that Iris thinks it is.
I know.
Okay, so
it was sweet.
Yeah, Eddie tells her that one of the things he loves about her is her strength and her independence, and that she wants him but doesn't need him, and he just wants her to be happy for the rest of her life. Aw.
I know.
And so therefore, it's okay for you to hook up with Scott. Scott
Dumb.
Evans.
Dumb. Scott's a dick.
Yeah, Scott is a dick.
Scott's a dick. He's a big fat dick. He's a... Sorry.
Hey, buddy. No guy.
Hey, guy.
Hey, guy.
I'm not your guy.
I'm not
pal.
your guy, buddy. Your pal. Your guy, buddy.
What is this bizarre segue that's happening?
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet.
Can we maybe
No.
stay
And
on
then-
point?
We have to say that Hartley, is
Right.
it Hartley?
Yeah.
Hartley is now part of the team in the future.
Yeah. Now, the timeline was because of Barry going back, because of altering the timeline. And now, apparently, when Barry returns to 2016,
To our time, yes.
to our time, Hartley is now a good guy.
Right.
He's working with, he's part of the team. Now, whether he's going to stay a regular,
Right.
I don't
we
know.
Don't know. Yeah.
we don't know, but he's apparently at least friends
Mm-hmm.
with Cisco and Caitlin and Barry.
Right. And he's
So
helping to work on all this stuff.
And it's kind of like he was with Wally West in Flash comics
Right.
back in the 90s,
Right.
or what have you.
So that's kind of cool.
So
And
it's kind
then
of cool.
we get that,
So if you're a Pied Piper fan, you got to feel redeemed a little bit.
right. And we got that, I'm coming for you at the very
Yes.
end of the episode
Yeah, pretty much.
with the hat. He's
Yeah.
so angry at Jay. This is like,
Yeah.
I've been fooled. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. I will kill you.
Now, did you catch the bit really quick? It was really subtle where Barry tells Cisco that Hartley knows how to find Ronnie Raymond.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I saw it, but
Yeah, so I wonder if that's going to play into Ronnie's return.
it might.
Just speculating on that one.
Interesting.
And of course, we got that thumb drive full of tachyon enhancements or whatever. So now
Right.
they can play with that.
Right. So that might contribute to that thing that's on his chest in
Yes.
Supergirl.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is like because that device they was wearing on Supergirl, we kind of forgot to mention this. This is the device that same little tachyon device that the Reverse Flash used so that he could have super speed
Right.
in season 1 of The Flash.
Right. So I'm guessing they're going to try and use that. And the reason why they didn't mention anything about his experiments is because the filming didn't sync up.
Yeah. So really, I think the Supergirl episode takes place after this Flash episode.
It supposedly does, yeah.
Yes. So the experiment, and maybe they'll do it next week. So maybe it takes place after this coming
Well,
week's.
we have more Flashes than Supergirls, so
Yeah.
they're going to explain it at some point. But
Yeah,
again,
but
it's a time travel thing, so
It's all wibbly wobbly time you want me.
Right.
Oh wait, there's Doctor Who again. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so I got to think the Supergirl episode takes place after this one.
yeah, I think so.
And he
they're
was
just going to
that was that whole him going to Supergirl's Earth was a test.
right. It was
of
one
that
of those
device.
tests of the device, yeah.
Right.
They're going to explain that in one of the Flashes coming
So
up.
what's your rating for this episode?
I give it 8.5 quote unquote mixtapes,
Mixtapes.
like the video montage.
Yeah, I gave it 8.5. We're also in sync here. Speed formula is written on a whiteboard.
Very nice.
So.
Because you got
iZombie.
all fanboy.
Yeah,
so cute.
Yeah. Just It
So
happens.
cute.
Yeah,
I just want to
it's
do this under your chin.
Oh,
Such a
okay.
fanboy. All right,
right.
iZombie.
Like you haven't had your fangirl moments.
Oh, I've had plenty.
Yes, you have.
I admit it. I
iZombie.
omit it.
Pour some sugar zombie.
Okay, this is the cleverest name they've ever had.
They've had some good ones. This is up there though.
That's true. This one's pretty good, though.
This is a great one. I love that title.
Yeah, me too.
Written by Diane Ruggiero Wright, directed by Mersey Almus. And what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Pole position,
Nice.
Peyton's place,
Yeah.
and major curiosity.
Nice. You had no trouble coming with story titles for this one,
No,
did you?
I didn't.
It kind of wrote itself.
Yeah,
pretty much.
kind of did.
So yeah, the brain of the week is Cassidy, an exotic dancer who happens to be the girlfriend of low-level thug Nick the Stick.
Yeah.
Whose girl on the side happens to be shagging up with boss number one's.
You couldn't come up with a name like that.
I know, Nick the Stick. So yeah, he's shagging up with the girl on the side is shagging up with boss's number one associate Pablo, who just happens to lead Peyton and company to a major boss adjacent stash house.
Mm-hmm.
So Liv.
No, she didn't want to eat that brain.
Yeah, she didn't. She wasn't going to eat that brain. Ravi wanted her to eat that brain.
Right.
So she ends up having a nice little BLT brain lettuce and tomato sandwich.
Right. Where the brain is really very tender.
And that's nice and lean.
Right.
It's nice and lean. Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
The Princess Bride.
Yep. So nice brain LT
A
sandwich.
mutton lettuce and tomato salad.
So Liv gets stripper brain,
Right.
which is great.
Well, they think they've solved the murder, which is why she's not going to. But Peyton wants the information
right.
out of the stripper's brain because she was going to give up the info on this guy.
Now this kind of segues into Peyton's place, where Peyton moves back in with Liv.
Right.
But then she gets a call from Cassidy right before she gets murdered.
Right.
So that kind of draws her in.
Mm-hmm.
So Peyton and Liv finally get to work together on a case.
Yeah, this is going to be problematic, I think, because Peyton's going to try and use this brain thing.
Well, yeah, because she's already doing that in this episode, where she's just like, "All right, you're gonna have your vision now, right? So that I can."
But how is she going to explain this?
That's a good question, because she can't exactly legally document Liv's vision.
No, she can't.
Or that Liv is a zombie.
Right.
Yeah.
So how on earth is she going to...
Unless she's hoping that it leads her somewhere. But the question is, like, if you're a lawyer, you're going to pick this apart and go, like, well, how did you get to this point?
Right.
So
there's going to have to be a trail somewhere.
We'll see where this goes.
Right.
But so the ladies, it's ladies' night as they go to the strip club.
Right, because it's ladies' night.
And Liv gives Peyton a lap dance to the strains of Nelly's Hot in Here.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
So take off all your clothes.
And she gets the booty right up in Peyton's face.
That's right. Peyton is very uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, but Liv is just like going for it. It's pretty funny.
Right.
I loved it.
But she's hoping it'll trigger a vision of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't, but
No. But it was hilarious to watch.
It was hilarious. Yeah. I loved it.
We're best friends. So let me shake my booty.
Right. Then they end up like going to the bathroom to confront, like Liv's got to go all like ragey on this girl that bumped her in the club.
Right. Oh, she swiped her hair into her face.
Oh, that's right. She flipped her hair.
Right.
In her
Oh, man.
So
if a girl did that to me, I think I'd go after her.
So yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
But
did that girl just flick me with her hair?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, hell no.
Yep. It's going down.
That is what I would do as well.
That's funny. So, major curiosity, I'm guessing, refers to Ravi doing a little homework.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
uh,
I have to say, I am a little peeved at Ravi.
Why?
Because if I had a safe in my room and my roommate went in there looking into it, I'd be mad. But in this case,
Yeah.
Major's doing something bad.
Well,
But still,
right. I know it's ethically dubious. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So we got Minor. We find out, thankfully, Minor was adopted by his late owner's brother.
Thank goodness.
Because I was worried that Minor was going to end up in a kill shelter.
Me too.
So yeah. Or
Thank
something.
goodness.
So thankfully, Minor's okay, and I think they had to write that. They probably got some flack over this, and they had to like, oh crap, we
Yeah.
gotta like, because we just left Minor on a bus,
I know.
which was like not cool.
It hurt you.
It did.
Remember it hurt you.
Yeah, it bothered me.
Yeah.
I had a dog once, so yeah, it bothered me.
Well, I was assuming he got taken in by someone. He was
But they
a
didn't
very gorgeous dog.
I would have been fine with it if they had just said that, but they didn't.
Okay.
So thankfully here, they explained it. Robbie's a little upset by that, but this leads Robbie to finding out that Major is the Chaos Killer after cracking the safe, and there's pulling out all this stuff that...
But he realizes, I guess, that he's not killing them because it is anesthetic. It's stuff to put them under.
Yeah, he had the syringe.
Right.
Yeah,
He says that what is he saying? That you're putting them to sleep or whatever.
something like that, yeah.
And so he puts him under. He's not killing Major. Now, again, when he puts Major under, he goes zombie.
Right.
So now Major's a zombie.
Major zombie, so they got to deal with that. There's lots of people turning zombies.
Or turning human.
Yeah. Blaine, that's right, because Blaine turns human again.
But
thanks to Robbie's batch of antidote, but then loses his memory.
yeah, lots of memories.
Yeah.
He's pretty much just losing it.
And his henchmen, like Donnie and the other guy, they're like, well...
Donnie and Hodor.
Yeah, pretty much. Hodor. Donnie kind of realizes, well, this ship is going down fast, so he willingly has
Hodor
scratch him, turn him into a zombie.
I'm just going to call him Hodor.
Yeah, that's might as well. So Hodor scratches Donnie, turns him to a zombie.
Patchy.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's only got the eye.
Right.
One eye or whatever.
He wears a patch.
But
he has him scratch him so that he can be a zombie.
So he did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He wants to live forever, and
I guess so. He wants to be the new Blaine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Blaine has already given them the business.
Right.
So he's all for it. He wants to be the brains, quote unquote.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. Behind the business, and Blaine is not able to really do what he
No. Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
Gilda, meanwhile.
Yeah.
Gilda's now a zombie after getting locked down in the secret basement lab with that zombie by her dick dad.
Mm-hmm.
So she sneaks into Liv's apartment to get a little snacky because she knows Liv's got to have some brains in there.
Sure, which she does.
So she raids Liv's fridge, but ends up getting abducted
by whoever is replacing Major.
Yeah, and leaves her scarf behind on Liv's floor, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, which does not get found in this episode, but I got to think Liv's got to go back to her apartment eventually.
Well, no, Liv found it. She picked it up.
Oh, she did?
But she just kind of looked sideways at it. And then the next part was Peyton blowing in with all her stuff. So, okay. And we never really got a conclusion to that in this episode.
No.
She was just dragged off. And
yeah, that was it. Pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, so is that the guy that's taking over Major's
I don't know.
business?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I think we'll find out. But things are moving forward, though.
Yeah, they are.
Which is good.
At a rapid pace now.
Yep. What's your rating?
I give it 8 Friends references since Peyton and Liv want the boys to move across the hall. Like Friends.
Exactly. I guess 8.5 brain LT sandwiches.
Where the brain is nice and tender.
Nice. Lean.
Lean.
Lean. All right. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Watch Dogs. Written by Drew Z. Greenberg. Directed by
Druzy.
Drew Z.
I
Like Drew Z period
I know,
Greenberg.
but it would be cool if his name was Druzy.
Drew Z.
I like that.
Not Eagleson. Directed by Jesse Bochco, who I gotta think is related to Stephen Bochco.
I'm assuming.
Somehow.
Right?
Yep. Now this episode features the return of Titus Welliver as Felix Blake, who we haven't seen since season 1.
The Man in Black.
Yeah, he was in that episode. That's the episode title.
Mm-hmm. And Bosch.
And End of the Beginning. So we get the. What's her A, B, and C, Karen?
He Ain't Heavy.
He's my brother.
Mm-hmm. Who Watches the Watchdogs? And then Coulson's Test, Electing Lincoln.
Okay. No clever title for that one.
Electing Lincoln.
Electing Lincoln. Okay.
Because the president.
Right. I got it. Okay, so
I especially liked Who Watches the Watchdogs, and I didn't get any props from you on that one.
Oh, well, I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I had no problem with it. I'm
sorry. Fine, huh?
I'm sorry.
It's a Watchmen reference.
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
Fine.
All right. Giving me crap. All right, I deserve it.
No, it's good. He ain't heavy.
He's my brother, so...
Yep. So Matt goes to visit his brother.
Yeah, he goes home to Naperville, Illinois, where he hooks up with his brother, Reuben.
So he's taking some R&R because of what happened with Hunter and...
Yeah, and Mockingbird.
Right.
So, yeah, so he's a little down about that. They're working on motorcycles, and... Reuben complains to Mac, who he calls Alfie, because his real name's Alfonso or something. Yeah. Like Mac's too tied up with work because Mac told him that he works for this insurance company. And then Mac talks about how rough the job is lately. Reuben's having his own problems because Reuben's like, well, that's nice, but I've been laid off.
Right. And I can't pay on the house.
Exactly.
And,
And you didn't want anything to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And I haven't asked for money.
Exactly.
Because when he starts getting defensive with it, Mac is kind of a dick.
Right.
And he's like, oh, so that's why I'm here, because you want money. And he's like, I haven't asked you for anything.
Right. And all Reuben wants Mac to do, apparently, is just sit down and have some lunch with him.
Right.
But Mac keeps ducking out to deal with S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff.
Right. Well, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. It's more important.
A building did implode.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because what happens is they're in the kitchen, and they have this nice TV in there, and all of a sudden they see this terrorist attack on an ATCU facility, where this group called the Watchdogs, which I'm sure is your Who Watches the Watchdogs.
Correct.
So that flows into that. This group, a little hate group, uses Howard Stark developed nitramine bombs, which looked kind of resembled that Black Matter stuff.
Kind of.
From Agent Carter, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Suspended in some kind of goo.
Yeah, and it just made things collapse in on itself. So that kind of reminded me of that Black Matter from Agent Carter.
That's right.
Especially with Howard Stark referenced.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's not sending things into that void. It's just collapsing things because it's suspended in that goo.
So thanks, Howard Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's they bomb this. Coulson ends up suspecting that this former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent named Felix Blake, who we talked about, who's been committed to the advancement of nitramine technology, has been suddenly missing. Well, guess he's kind of important. Maybe we should follow up on that.
Right.
Since having his back broken by Deathlock in the season 1 episode. he's taken over the group apparently.
Right.
So
Now, one of the things that happened in the kitchen when they're watching the TV is that Ruben sides with the watchdogs.
yes, he's very sympathetic toward them.
Right. Very.
So which makes Mac go, ugh,
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah. Awkward.
Awkward.
Especially since I'm kind of one of the guys.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Right.
So Ruben gets all pissy when Mac leaves to investigate a watchdog base, and accidentally reveals. Mac ends up accidentally revealing his S.H.I.E.L.D. agent status.
Right.
Mac's able to improve the relationship, however, but when he fends off a group of the terrorists that attack them
In the house, yeah.
in the house. Yeah.
Right.
So
And Ruben is like, hey, you got all those guys.
right.
You're kind of a badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So that kind of wins Ruben over a little bit to Mac, and then finally Daisy shows up with
Fitz and
it fits and so they help take down the watchdogs, and then Ruben's kind of like watching Mac get wheeled out eventually at the end of the episode,
right, because he got shot in the
and
crossfire.
Daisy kind of gives him some advice and said, "Hey, your brother's really great. I can really put my faith behind him, et cetera, et cetera."
Now, does she offer him a job as a wheelman?
That's what they talked about. Like, well, maybe we'll get in touch with you later, or
Right.
something. Yeah,
We could use a wheelman or something
we'll
like
see.
that.
We'll see what happens. But
Right.
I don't think we've seen the last of Ruben,
I don't think so either.
so we'll see.
He's
And,
a pretty well-known character actor. So
Exactly. And then Coulson's test, electing Lincoln, where we've got Coulson. He's not sold on bringing Lincoln in as a replacement for Hunter, for example.
right. Well,
not sold on it.
Lincoln has taken the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent test,
Yeah.
and as Daisy is walking out, she says something about it, and Coulson ducks the question and
Right.
says he's not going out with you right now.
Yeah.
And so he takes Lincoln with him to find the guy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Oh.
Blake?
Blake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felix. Yeah.
So he's questioning his loyalty to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
He knows he's there for Daisy, but he doesn't know how much of that is because of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how much is because of Daisy.
Right.
So
he
he
puts
takes
his-
him. Go ahead.
No, I was. Go ahead.
So he takes
doing-
him with him to find Blake, and when they do come across him, he decides to give him a kill order.
Right.
And Lincoln looks at him like, why would you do this to me? Why would you give me...
I don't want to kill him.
Right. And so he attacks him with a lot of force, but not quite enough to kill him. And it turns out that it's Blake's hologram.
Right. Which Coulson knew all along.
Right. Right. And
Again, it was all a test.
Right. And Coulson realizes that he would have incapacitated Blake, but not killed him, which passes, which
Right.
means he passed the test.
Yeah, he liked the fact that Lincoln followed his orders, but went against him enough so that it wasn't fatal.
Right.
So he liked that.
Yeah. And it passed his test, and he realized, whether he's here for S.H.I.E.L.D. or Daisy, he'll
Right.
work out.
Yep. So apparently Lincoln is now full-fledged S.H.I.E.L.D. guy.
Right. And they still haven't gotten Blake, but
No.
Lincoln's on the team.
Yeah, Blake, we find out later at the end of the episode, the real Blake ends up meeting with Gaira.
Mm-hmm.
And he's asking for weapons to hunt down
Oh, yeah.
these freaks. And
Of which...
Are you as annoyed as I am when they just keep referring to people like Daisy as freaks?
Yes,
It's so annoying.
I know. But you have to admit people would do that.
I know, but I mean, there's other words you could use besides the same word freaks over and over
People
again.
do that for
I know.
for the people that are different in our society right now.
Yeah.
So,
You can't think you at least come up with a slur,
I know.
a good slur name, but
Now, the thing is that Gaira is one of those freaks.
right.
So there's a little bit of a look
Yeah.
that he gives him.
Yeah. A little awkward look.
There's going to be a reckoning as well. Gaira is not
Yeah.
pleased.
But basically Blake's now got a missile because Gaia gave him a missile.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens.
But I think Gaira is going to use him to do some stuff, and then at the end of all that, he's going to toss him aside. There's not going to be any loyalty there on his point. All right.
So what's your rating?
I give it 8 motorcycle jackets.
And I give it 8 target practice bullet holes, which is a reference to Simmons on the firing range.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
We didn't really talk about that, but yeah, Simmons hates guns, but she wants to be prepared. She remembers how Will died for her, Fitz nearly died, and she let Lash loose just to save herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she blames herself for what Lash did.
Right.
And May's like, no, dude, it's not your fault.
Right. Well, I think that is going a long way to helping her, is May saying to forgive yourself, because it is Andrew that's part of her problem. So.
But May tells her, though, and this might be for some foreshadowing here, she says that she plans on killing Andrew when they catch up to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Simmons is like, well, that Creel vaccine might work on Andrew since he hasn't finished his transition.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how finished does he need to be? He's turning into Lash.
I know, he's
I think
finished.
they're just trying to give him an out so that they can make him normal or something. But
well, either that or Simmons is going to kill him.
yeah, May's like, look, don't give me hope, okay?
Right.
I'm all focused on killing him. I don't need that hope stuff.
Right.
So
May is always looking on the dark side of everything, isn't she?
well, that's who she is.
She's a fatalist.
She is a fatalist.
Yeah.
So
I am so upset with you for your rating on this next one. I'm just warning you guys up front. It's the worst.
that was pretty funny. So Arrow, Beacon of Hope. Beacon of Hope. Get it?
Yeah.
Beacon. Okay.
Yes, I get it. And I also get your rating. It's the
Written
worst.
It's my revenge.
Yeah.
Written by Ben Sokolowski and Brian Ford Sullivan, directed by Michael Schultz.
Okay.
And this is the return of Emily Kinney as the Bug-Eyed Bandit after previously appearing on Flash.
Right. As
But
the
now
Bug-Eyed Bandit.
She's the Bug-Eyed Bandit. And then we get a little bit of Neil McDonough as Damien Dark as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
The unbearable, unbearable, blight,
That's
blight,
reaching. I feel you reaching with that one.
blightness of swarming.
Okay.
Legends of terrific instead of tomorrow.
Right.
And setting brother against brother.
Got it.
For the Diggle twist
yeah.
at the end.
A little Cain and Abel action going on here. All right, so we got Brie Larvin returns, hacking. We first see her hacking into her own Iron Heights computer file and changing the release date, like Ferris Bueller changed the number of sick days.
Or War Games changing all their grades on the report cards.
And this made me nuts because the guard, all right, for one thing, we're giving a hacker supervillain access to a computer in prison.
Stupid.
What?
Right.
Why?
I don't.
Why are you doing? And then you've got this guard, like, the guard comes over to remove her from the computer, but she does that thing where you click minimize and to hide what you're really looking at.
Right.
Outsmarted the guard totally.
Now, here's the thing. He says, what are you doing without internet?
Yeah.
So where did she materialize the hardware to get connected to the internet? Because if there's no cable or Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Where's the signal? Or where's she getting the signal from?
Right. Well, no.
Did she create like this really souped up modem and plug it into the computer?
You could get Wi-Fi and connect to something.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure, okay, the warden's probably got computer access.
Sure.
So if you somehow hack into that.
That's fine, but you'd have to have the Wi-Fi in the computer you're using. And if there's no internet access, they would not have it in that computer, right?
Right. Well, I know that, like, I've got on my computer, I've got this stick that you plug into a USB port that picks up Wi-Fi signals.
Yeah, but why would she have that?
I don't know.
This is what I'm saying.
She built one out of magic.
Right. The only thing I could think is that they bought a computer and it had a Wi-Fi chip on it and they disabled it, and so she enabled it. But that would be the stupidest thing ever, right?
This prison, she whittled a piece of soap down
into a Wi-Fi.
Into a Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Dumb.
This is what, this is what the Arrow Riders.
I'm talking about Arrow being dumb, not you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole nother dumb.
Right.
Me. Yeah, me. I can see what you did.
You're so not dumb.
Yes, I am. All right, so we've got, so Bree ends up crashing this Palmer Tech board meeting. The board's like waiting on Felicity.
With all her bees.
Yeah, like one board member suddenly collapses and then throws up a cloud of bees. So, ew.
I know. It was gross.
Bree waltzes in and says, I want the microchip from Felicity's spine. And somehow she found out about that. And then...
well, it was in the news.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't.
Because she miraculously got up.
Yeah, she advertised. That's right. She advertised it.
Yeah. Which was dumb.
So, yeah. So now it's like, hey, everybody, I've developed the cure to paralysis.
Right.
So.
And I have the only chip.
Yeah. Now, I will give them credit for one thing. I don't know if you noticed or not, but at the end of this episode, they gave a little shout out to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. So.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
They kind of acknowledge that, and I give them props for that. So. But it is like, hey, we've got a chip and we can cure paralysis. Why aren't we like doing this for everybody?
Right. Which is what she ended up doing at the end of the episode.
Right.
But it was pretty selfish of her to just have it and not
share it.
Right. Not even try.
All she had to do is like, okay, dude, I'll share it with you.
Right.
No problem. I don't want you to have to go through what I did.
Right. Curtis, how come you're not? I don't hear you unless you knock, Curtis. Why don't you make some more of these?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
yeah, I'm not happy about all that. But she and her mother and Thea? Was it Thea?
Thea, yes. Yes.
All the girls are in the building trying to get through, and of course there's going to be ductwork that is so big.
Everybody can crawl through it.
Right, which is not the case ever.
Yeah.
In any house.
I know.
Ever.
Okay. All right. So
just so you people know.
So Legends of Terrific.
We haven't finished. Oh, Legends of Terrific, yes.
I was jumping on I was moving on to Curtis.
Curtis, who goes to the thing, and we don't hear you unless you knock, Curtis. He just manages to make it.
Yeah, now Curtis has a big episode because he tracks down Oliver's hideout, the Arrow Cave, because it's so easy. Anybody could do it.
He has a locator beacon.
Yeah.
Where was the locator beacon? What was it on?
I have no idea.
I can't remember what it was on.
I can't remember. But anyway, so he figures out the secret, and he offers to help the team save Felicity and her mom and Thea. So we've got... Curtis eventually, he gets him a little grief from Oliver, who gets all snitty and snotty with kind of a dick. But it's Oliver. He's pretty dickish a lot of times. And Curtis ends up helping out, realizes the sting actually implanted a bee within Oliver after Oliver gets stung.
Right. And it's multiplying.
It's replicating.
Right.
So
it's electrifying.
Nice. So he figures out that, Laurel, you could just use your canary cry to disrupt the frequency controlling the bees. Because obviously.
Right.
And.
Because yes.
So that happens. So Black Canary makes her O face, and Oliver is cured. You like that? Because when
That's very good.
yeah,
I like it very much.
when Katie Cassidy does her canary cry,
Yes,
it's her O
that's
face.
very good.
Um, so
She disables the bees.
she disables the bees. Curtis develops a virus to shut down the bees, and then uses them to sting the Bug-Eyed Bandit.
Right.
After, of course, the Bug-Eyed Bandit says, "Oh, I've got this tumor that's going to leave me paralyzed."
Right.
But you don't care because I'm a bad guy.
Right.
So
And that's when Felicity says, well, it's on a stick in Curtis's office. Go get it.
yeah,
Because she feels bad.
yeah.
And
Okay.
so she goes to get the stick, the USB stick or memory stick or whatever. And she still comes back with all the bees because
Right.
she's a villain.
Right. But Curtis uses those bees to sting her,
Right.
the Bug-Eyed Bandit, puts her in a coma
Mm-hmm.
from toxins. So on top of all the other stuff, you're now in a coma.
Rude and ruder.
Yeah. So
I liked
Oliver
Curtis in this episode. a
Oliver
lot.
thanks Curtis for help and apologizes for being a dick.
Right.
So that's good. Curtis says he's going to head home. Oliver tells him, well, you're always welcome in our lair and you can help us out because Felicity's no longer in the group.
That's right.
We need a hacker person.
And you're terrific.
You're terrific. Yeah.
See what I did there?
Which I did because, of course, that's foreshadowing because he becomes Mr. Terrific. So
Right.
at some point, they're going to give him the codename Mr. Terrific.
Right. And I'm guessing he's going to join the team.
Yeah, I'm guessing he will too. And it's going to be kind of tongue in cheek.
Right.
Of course, when they say it, it's like, oh, yeah, we'll just call you Mr. Terrific or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So flashbacks, do we care?
Nope.
Okay, we don't care. Now, we did get this bit at the end where Merlin approaches Andy Diggle. Now, this is early in the episode. Merlin showed up and taunted Damien Dark. He said that, like, well, nobody at Hive wants you out of prison. Sucks to be you. We're moving ahead with Genesis without you.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the
You're no good to us now.
yeah, exactly. You're dead to us.
Right.
And so later he shows up, approaches Andy Diggle, Diggle's brother, and for help attacking Team Arrow.
Doesn't it look like he kind of has Andy Diggle?
Oh, you mean you think he's like forcing him to?
Yeah.
Oh, see,
I
I
think
took it that he just like, hey, want to hook up?
Want to Netflix and chill?
What, you mean, want to join our Legion of Doom?
Want to Netflix and chill?
Nice. So okay, so that's that.
Okay.
As we're spiraling past the 2-hour mark, so we gotta.
Well, we do have a lot of shows this
we do
episode.
have a lot of
Yeah.
shows, so yeah. All right, so rating.
7.5 returning blonde villains again.
Yeah. Now, of course, I was a little more generous. I gave it 8 unbelievable fighting robot bees because of this scene, and this killed me. These bees coalesce into a guy.
Oh, no. Okay, that was awesome.
And then just so Oliver could fight a guy.
Yeah.
And so these bees are fighting, like they all fuse into a guy like Transformers or whatever, or or Voltron or something. They fuse together, make a guy. The bee guy fights Oliver.
Yeah, that was awesome. And of course, Oliver can't do much to him because you can't like stab him or shoot an arrow at him
just
or whatever.
break apart into bees.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. And I hate you for that. Unbelievable. It's the worst.
Yeah,
It
they
is
had
the
a lot
worst.
of horrible bee puns, and all of a sudden it felt like like I'm watching '60s Batman.
Right.
Every time the Bug-Eyed Bandit does these bee puns, I feel like I'm watching '60s Batman.
When they fought, did the camera turn?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit on the angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman was like that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So, yep. I think that was definitely, I don't know if they're homaging it, but it felt like it.
Yeah.
Felt like they were doing it.
The greatest part of that episode was Curtis for me.
Yes. Right, me too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Otherwise,
It brings
nothing
a little bit
special.
of fresh blood because we're tired of Felicity. So
Yes, very.
yes. All right. Last two shows.
Legends
We're
of
almost
Tomorrow.
we're on the home stretch. Legends of Tomorrow, Left Behind.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Beth Schwartz and Granny Godfrey, directed by John F. Showalter, who seems like all over these shows lately.
Mm-hmm.
And what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Moving on.
Moving on.
I won't say I told you so. That's for me.
Hate to say I told you so. All right.
That's for me directly.
Yep.
And looking ahead.
Looking ahead. Okay.
Now,
So
I'm just going to start right up front. I won't say I told you so, but ... Remember that time we had a conversation about Kronos?
Yeah.
And who might be in there?
Yes.
And I pulled this out of my butt and said it might be Rory.
And did I not say that
You
was a
did.
possibility?
You said it was a possibility.
I was I wasn't writing it off.
I know. Did you like my tweet?
Yes.
And I said, good times.
Yep, good times. Yeah. So yeah, props to Karen for
I
calling.
did not see that anywhere on the internet, by the way. That was not something I got from anyone else.
So Karen called her shot, and Mick Rory, Heatwave, turns out to be Kronos, which you kind of saw coming the moment he kidnapped Captain Cold.
Yes.
Because
that's when I got really excited.
Why would they bother kidnapping Captain Cold unless it's Heatwave?
I was like, oh, it's personal. It's him.
Yep.
It's
Mick.
Mick.
They kind of threw me off because they had cast a guy underneath that armor.
That wasn't Mick.
That wasn't him. Like maybe he's the stunt double or something, but yeah. Or, Mick took over.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, well, no.
They hadn't changed time yet.
Yeah, so we start off this episode. We're picking up on the cliffhanger last time where Kronos shows up, disables the Wave Rider, gets stuck in the time stream. He kidnaps Captain Cold, and Ray, Sarah, and Kendra end up stuck in the 1950s.
Right.
So we got Ray and Kendra building a life together in Hub City.
Right. For
which was
2.5 years or so.
Yeah, and Hub City is where Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle, fights crime. So there's a nice little nod there. Sarah,
although he's not born yet.
No, he's not born yet. But Sarah, meanwhile, rejoins the League of Assassins. Meanwhile,
yeah, she goes to Nanda Parbat.
Yeah, she goes back to Nanda Parbat, decides, well, hey, I'm really good at this assassin stuff. I guess this is where I'll go.
That's right. And we finally meet Talia.
Yes, because, we go there, Rip returns 2 years later, which I don't know why he can't just go back to 1958.
I know. He could if he wanted to.
He could if he wanted to, because the time ship can't go to 1958 now because you were already there? I don't get it.
Well, he could go 2 months later.
He could.
Right?
Or he can go to 1959. He didn't have to wait till 1960.
Right.
So, I don't get it. But,
I don't either.
So 2 years later, they go back in 1960 to pick up Ray and Kendra. Then they go to Nanda Parbat to get Sarah, but she's all buying into Ra's al Ghul's League stuff again, and then turns the team over as trespassers for execution. So thanks, Sarah.
Right. She's brainwashed.
Yeah, she's basically brainwashed. So while there, we get return of Matt Nable's Ra's al Ghul, and his young daughter, the older daughter, not Nyssa, but Talia.
That's right.
So we get Talia is apparently in play now.
That's right. So that makes her much older than Batman.
Right. But now that they've introduced her, does that mean we can see an adult Talia on Arrow at some point?
So.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
So
but she must be using the whatever.
Let's see. Yeah, because this is 1960.
Yeah.
So
she has a kid with Batman.
That's true. So yeah. So Yeah, she has Damien.
Right? I mean, if they...
Yeah. She hooks up. Yeah, eventually Talia, for those who don't know, in the comics, she gets herself pregnant intentionally, I
Right.
think,
Yes.
by Bruce Wayne Batman. Um, conceals the kid from Batman until he's like 8 or so. And then all of a sudden their kid, Damien, shows up because Talia wants Damien to learn from Bruce.
Right.
And that's where eventually Damien becomes the latest Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got Batman and Son fighting crime together.
Exactly.
But then Damien ends up rebelling against Talia and joining his father properly.
Exactly.
As opposed to, yeah,
So it turns on her.
Yeah, exactly. So technically, Batman's son is Ra's al Ghul's grandson.
Right.
For those of you keeping track, everybody got that? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
That's a little background. Okay.
And so the Huntress and Robin are half brother and half sister.
Well, Huntress is not in this continuity anymore.
Yeah, I get that. But in the comic books.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you wanted to.
Right.
But yeah.
Because Helena is Catwoman.
Yeah, if you go back to she's the Earth 2 Batman's daughter.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. That's DC comic.
Theoretically.
So you're doing your fangirl stuff now.
Yeah, I am kind of. So.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right. What is this bizarre segue? All right.
What is this bizarre segue?
Point.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
My tablet is slow.
So I won't say I told you so. What's that?
That's me saying that Kronos is...
Oh, okay.
Is Mick.
Got it. Okay, so...
I won't say I told you so, but Kronos is Mick.
So, yeah, so we get some explanation, of course. Mick tells Leonard Snart...
Mick is pissed off.
Mick is pissed off. He explains that the Time Masters picked him up. We find out that, of course, Captain Cold did not kill Heatwave, which called that. But the Time Masters showed up, got Mick, did a little timey-wimey stuff, and trained him as a Time Master. So, he took on this identity of Kronos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why now he can, he's got his own time ship, and he's essentially got all these new skills, and he's out for revenge.
That's right. And that's why he's been after them this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kronos shows up, just as Kendra figures out how to, she and Sarah have this little battle to the death.
Mm-hmm.
And they fight. Kendra's Hawk Girl wings return because she gets all ragey.
Right.
And they fight. But during the fight, Kendra gets through to Sarah and kind of snaps her out of that little brainwash state a little bit. Kronos shows up, and then Roz is like, okay, you guys are free, so you can stop Kronos.
Right.
And then,
well, after Rip says, look, you guys are no match for this dude.
Right.
But we are.
Yeah.
So if you just let us free, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
So you don't all die.
Exactly.
And so Roz is like, okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Captain Cold, who's been held captive on Kronos' ship, gets himself free by using his cold gun on his hand.
Right.
And breaks his hand so he can get through the handcuffs.
Ugh.
Which,
ouch.
Dude.
Yeah. Hardcore.
So, yeah, he smashes his own hand, freeze-dries his own hand, breaks it in so he can slip out of the cuffs.
Yeah.
So then he shows up, then they capture Kronos, remove Kronos' helmet, say, oh, guess what, everybody? Kronos is Heatwave.
Right. Well, I like that once he shows up there, they're about to kill him, and even after he's vowed revenge on Leonard, Leonard says, "Don't kill him.
Right.
It's Mick."
Right.
And he's decided he's going to defend his friend, even though his friend wants to kill him.
Yeah.
And it's very touching to see that.
So Cold is far more loyal to Heatwave than Heatwave is to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or I should say Kronos now.
Right.
So yeah, they're going to try and figure out a way to restore Mick, to undo all that stuff.
Right.
That was done to Mick.
Or at least try to
do
instill him with a little more faith.
Yeah. Well, they think they've got a chance to reform him and bring him back to the team.
Right.
So we'll see.
So they keep him, but they put him in a cage.
Yeah, they put him in the brig. Rip uses the Wave Rider's technology to regrow Snart's hand. Uses a little regeneration energy.
Which was awesome.
But they called it regeneration energy. Like we're going to regenerate your...
All right, you and your Doctor Who stuff.
But it gets Doctor Who again.
Yeah, I know. I love Doctor Who as well. But,
okay.
It's... I know. It's cool. It's comic books. That's the deal.
Okay.
Science fiction's going to reuse the same stuff over and over again. You know that.
I know, but it just seemed... Okay, never mind. All right.
I know. It's very Doctor Who. Regeneration was a word before Doctor Who. Did you know that?
I know that.
Okay.
But when you go make a point of calling it regeneration, use energy to regrow, and I'm sure it was a fighting hand.
Could be.
If you remember the episode Christmas Invasion again. But, okay. All right. So then we have Kendra and Ray resolving their relationship issues, where Kendra says she's still in love with Ray, even though she didn't want to be when they were in 1960. Mm-hmm. Ray does not give her the engagement ring he was going to give her in 1960.
Right. But they move in together on the Wave Rider.
Yeah, so they kind of hit the brakes on the relationship a little bit. Yeah.
Although he's okay to sleep with her. He's down to clown. As it were.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Sweet Christmas.
Uh-huh.
So,
right on.
Right on. Rip informs the team they're going to the Casnia conglomerate in 2147 because I've known that Vandal Savage was there in that time period all along.
Yes, but it's very dangerous.
Yes.
And so he hasn't wanted to go there.
But saying he didn't have any leads is a lie because he had a lead. He just didn't want to pursue it.
Yeah, but it's dangerous. So I get where he's coming from.
So, yeah. So he considered it too great until now. But he should have said, I have a lead. I just don't want to go there unless I really have to.
He was worried that they would make him go there.
Okay. So that's where we're off to next, 2147.
That's right.
All right. So rating.
And I like this one because I was right.
Right.
That's why I liked it so much.
I liked it because I was right.
So I give it 9.5 time beacons, which is what Ray was working on the whole time they were in the 50s.
That's funny. All right.
I was right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love it when one of my hunches pays off.
Yeah. Now you're all smug.
No, not all smug. I just think it's cool.
Smug.
I'm wrong half the time too, so.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. It's cool. I admit it. You earned it. You called your shot, and it paid off. So.
This time.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
This time, you're right.
I have a feeling the Lucifer one's not going to. So
we'll see. I'm a little about that one now.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. I give this one 9 out of 10. Shattered and frozen hands.
Yeah. That was a pretty good. It was a pretty good special effect. His hand.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of it like how hilarious would it have been if he shot his own foot off
instead.
Because he was pointing that gun at his foot for a
while.
He
was, yeah.
He's gonna freeze his foot off. All right, last show.
Daredevil.
Penny and Dime, written by John C. Kelly, directed by Peter Hoare. Peter Hoare. Okay, so A, B, and C this.
This is your favorite A story, right?
Yes, this is it.
Okay, I'll have to lean back from the mic to do this one. I want my $2.
Nice.
Thank you.
Now, Of course, for those of you who don't get that reference because you're not old like us, it's a reference to the Paperboy in Better Off Dead from 1980s film with John Cusack.
It's a running gag through the whole film.
It's a total cult classic, this movie, but it's great. And this Paperboy pursues John Cusack throughout the movie, demanding this $2, and just hounds him constantly, and it's pretty hilarious.
Yes. So it's like the most quotable line of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the movie, you know I want my $2. And it's something like my husband and I say to each other, I want my $2. It's just a thing.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
If you don't know it and you're not in on the joke, then boo-hoo for you. You're not in on the joke.
That was definitely my favorite A, B, and C title of the week.
Thank you.
Loved it.
So I want my $2, and then of brothers and daughters, and then breaking the bro code.
Ooh.
I was a little taken aback by Matt's breaking of the bro code here.
Yeah. All right, so, excuse me. All right, so your I want my $2. I want my $2 refers to refers to here as
the Irish mafia guy wanting his money back.
yes. So we got Finn Cooley, this high-profile member of the Irish Mafia, whose son was killed by the Punisher, sends his hired goons, in search of him and the money he stole from the Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Castle ends up captured by the Irish and was taken off to be brutally tortured by Cooley, who drills through his foot.
Right.
Ow.
And he doesn't break until they bring the dog in, which I think is so touching.
Now, if you're a dog fan, again, you were a little nervous in this scene.
So nervous.
Lori's like, if they kill this dog, I'm not watching Daredevil ever again.
I was on the fence there too.
She was ready to bail on the show if they killed this dog.
Again, I wouldn't have bailed, but I would have really been mad.
Yeah, she was ready to bail.
I have bailed on shows after they killed the dog.
Yeah. So, Punisher gives up the location of the money when Cooley threatens to kill his dog, but the case, guess what, containing the money is armed with an explosive that, surprise, kills a chunk of Cooley's men.
That's right. It went boom.
Boom. It went boom. It blew it up real good.
Yeah, he was on the phone to Finn at the time, and he said, yep, all the money's here. Oh, wait, there's something, boom.
And the Punisher's like, excuse me while I laugh my ass off.
Yeah, and at this point, Finn was distracted enough that he didn't notice that Castle was getting out of his
handcuffs.
Bonds.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cooley's all ready to kill Castle, who ends up escaping.
Right.
Punisher takes out a bunch of Irish guys.
Yep.
Shoots Finn, grabs the shotgun, points it at Finn, and asks who killed his family.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still trying to find out who killed
his
Frank's
son
family.
and daughter and wife.
Son and wife. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finn's like, nobody cares, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The Punisher blows his face off as a response.
He cares. That's
he
the
cares
answer.
quite a bit. Yeah. So the Punisher ends up getting cornered. He starts reciting that creepy children's song.
Yep.
That means it's going down.
Penny and Dime.
Yep, Penny and Dime, which is the title. As Daredevil shows up, Frank tells Daredevil that these guys have to pay, and Daredevil says they will, but not tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So they team up to take the guys down, but then Daredevil won't let the Punisher kill. And then after taking down the men, Daredevil helps the Punisher leave after the Punisher gets wounded.
Right.
So the Punisher's kind of bleeding out. He escorts him to a graveyard. Frank tells Matt about his family, which he reveals was murdered by the Mafia. So now Matt knows the story.
Right.
The police show up to apprehend Castle, and Daredevil tells Sergeant Mahoney to take the credit for the arrest so that the city's hope can be in the police force can be restored.
Right. That it's not vigilantes ruling the town. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's the lawyer and Matt talking right there. Yeah. So what's our or of brothers and daughters.
Him talking about his 1 batch, 2 batch, penny and dime.
Oh, okay.
And then Matt and Karen having their heart-to-heart about her brother.
Right. Yeah, that was
So,
interesting.
family stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was good. So we had Karen, meanwhile, she learns from the case files that Punisher's real name is Frank Castle, and then locates this disgraced surgeon who points her to the Castle household.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when she starts nosing around in there.
Right. Finding out that he had a family.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Matt learns about his family as well. So we're getting the team learning about his family.
Exactly. And Matt and Karen starts getting really into the Punisher's background because this is where her central storyline for this season is.
Yep.
So breaking the bro code, I'm presuming, is after Matt, Foggy, and Karen celebrate at Josie's bar, Matt and Karen end up sharing a kiss in the rain.
Yes.
So as I'm referring to, like, that Foggy had a crush on Karen.
Yes, and they went on dates.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but hands off. Even if they're not going out.
But Karen was all, like, hung up on him.
Still, it's the bro code. You don't go after someone that your bro went after. Isn't that the case, right?
Typically, yes.
He needs to go ask Foggy if it's okay first.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Well, maybe Matt figures, well, I'm Catholic. I can go to confession and absolve myself.
He's breaking the bro code. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not cool. It's not cool.
It isn't cool. I get where he's going.
Yeah.
He and Karen like each other, but still, he's breaking the bro code. It's not good.
Right. That's okay. Foggy could just go off and have sex with Marcy.
It's true.
So
she's very hot.
And he apparently, all she needs is a booty call, and it's happening. So
yeah,
I don't think Foggy's hurting in that.
He can get some.
Yeah, Foggy can get some if he needs it.
Right.
So
still, he should have talked to him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Matt, after that nice little kiss in the rain, he's all like, "Oh, that's good. I'm feeling good about myself." Goes home, and who's sitting there in the dark on the couch? But his his ex-girlfriend, Elektra Nachos.
That's right, Elektra Nachos.
Nachos.
I know.
Nachos.
I know.
You goof.
Yeah, Elektra's there. So
Elektra is now, so next episode, big Elektra episode.
Karma.
Yeah, so.
For breaking the bro code.
Well, yeah, because it's never good when the ex-girlfriend, who's the kind that gets you in all kinds of trouble during your relationship, which is why you broke up with her, shows up.
And is sitting in your apartment in the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Oh, and by the way, she's a ninja assassin.
Right. Oh, there's that.
There's that too. Yeah. But, well, that's secondary, of course.
Sure.
Yeah. So what's your rating?
I have to say, I really like this episode a lot. I am loving Daredevil.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Loving it. I gave it 8 unread children's stories, and it broke my heart because he said that he read the story to his daughter every night, and then one night he was too tired to read it to her, and he said, "I'll read it to you tomorrow night." There was no tomorrow night, and I was like, "Oh, there was no tomorrow night."
Reaches for the Kleenex box.
It's true, right?
Yep.
Oh, it was horrible. So yeah, that's why I said unread children's, and the children's story does not exist. For those of you wondering, it's a fake children's story.
It's a fake one.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering. So I'm glad you told me that because I was wondering. Now, it's interesting to me that they're making the Punisher so sympathetic a character.
I agree.
Because in the comics, he's typically like this hard ass.
Right.
Who, like, okay, my family got shot.
That you get why he does what he does, but you never really like him.
But yeah, because he's like this emotionless Terminator afterward.
Right.
He just goes on killing everybody.
It's like he doesn't have a soul anymore.
Right. But here, he does have a soul.
Right.
The way John Bernthal is playing him.
I think they're doing that because they're keeping him around. And they want you to
Well, I think
at
it's
least
because
like him a little bit.
they're getting him with Karen.
Yeah.
We'll see. So I think but it makes him a more sympathetic character. So it's definitely a new twist on the Punisher that we know. All right.
It's making him more interesting, at least, I think.
Now, I know we're really long. We're 2.5 hours now, but we owe it to Justina.
That's right.
So let's get Justina's reviews from last week and this week.
All right. So here's the one from last week. All right. Hold on a minute.
Slight technical issue. Need some like elevator music playing while we wait. You're the girl from Ipanema.
That's what I'm singing.
Yep.
Oh, crap. I don't have the one from last week. Hold on. Let me find it.
Oh, no.
And I'll just play it on the computer.
Okay. So, anyway, I guess we'll talk
Hold on,
a little
I
bit
have
more
it.
about that. Okay, you got it? Okay.
I just have to play it.
Okay.
Tall and tan and dark and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she's walking, dee 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 dee. Here.
We could talk about Archer.
Here we go. Oh, are they going to do a whole arc this season?
I think so. We'll find out.
Because
so anyway,
at the beginning of the episode,
I opened that Pandora's box. I'm sorry,
okay.
people. That was my fault.
Here she is.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Some of our favorite shows are back, so yay for that. But one of the episodes I really disliked, so boo on that.
Boo.
Supergirl gets 9 out of 10 lead-lined glasses. Sometimes flashbacks take me out of the story and I don't really enjoy them, but this week on Supergirl, I really enjoyed the information that the flashbacks provided. So I'm giving this episode a really high grade, and I'm really looking forward to the Flash crossover next week. Flash gets 8 out of 10 drone-carrying nets. Cisco remains one of my favorite characters on this show. I think that now that Jessie has been exposed to the V9, that this is what will make her become a speedster in the future, even though they think they got all of it out of her system. I think that it's possible that it had enough time to change her somewhat on a molecular level, and she will have some speedster abilities in the future.
I think so.
I think we found a solution about how to beat Zoom, pump him full of V9, and let him run himself out of existence. Now they just have to solve the problems about how to get back to where Zoom is now that all the breaches are closed. But if anybody can figure that out, this team at Star Labs can. Then there was Arrow. This is where the disappointment comes in this week. When I first watched the episode, I really hated it, and I scored it like a 1. But after calming down and thinking about it some more, I think I've settled on 4 out of 10 hidden rings.
Ooh.
I did like a few things in the episode. I liked the motorcycle action scenes. I liked watching Laurel fight crime in a different kind of suit. I liked that in a show that has a lot of secrets and lies, Captain Lance was able to tell the truth. But I still hate that Felicity can walk so well.
Yeah,
I don't think the way they're
Yep.
treating that storyline is logical. I didn't like the decoy wedding and the fact that after Oliver, even though it was a decoy wedding, he told his true feelings and poured out his heart to Felicity, that she told him that he couldn't change. I don't think that's fair to say that he can't change. I do think that Felicity also had some valid points, and I do believe that Oliver would lie to her again if it meant keeping her safe and out of danger because he loves her that much. But I don't believe that he lies to her to hurt her. I just believe that sometimes his position in Star City as the Arrow puts him between a rock and a hard place and forces him to do things that he wouldn't normally do. So Damien has a ring in his mouth. I think it's possible that that is another totem for him,
Could be.
and
Could be.
it will allow him to access his magic, and therefore this normal human prison will not hold Damien Dark for long. Have a super week.
All right.
All right.
Next feedback?
Next feedback.
Hi, Karen
Get a
and
little
Charles.
echo.
Another super week for superhero TV. Here we go. Supergirl was my favorite. It was totally awesome. I hope they do lots of those crossovers. Supergirl and Flash's chemistry was so cute.
Agreed.
And I liked the supervillain
Agreed.
team up as well. To see Livewire again and have her team up with the new villain, Silver Banshee. Oh no, the whole town is turning into zombies. I wonder if anybody in the whole town will be immune to whatever this myriad thing is that Non has started to make an army. Will anybody
blood
be
control.
awake and able to help Supergirl? I can't wait for
Okay,
next
Doctor
week to
Who
find
man.
out. I give that episode 9 out of 10 trips to the donut shop because Barry needs a lot of calories and Kara knows a place. Flash was really good too. And Supergirl answered a question that I have been having about Flash about how will Barry return to Earth 2 to save the inhabitants of that Earth from Zoom now that he closed all the breaches.
Yep.
But now in Supergirl we learned that he's learned how to go fast enough and he has a tachyon device. And in this episode of Flash we learned how he got that information. I like the concept that there's a time wraith that comes after you if you are trying to mess with the timeline, like a solid manifestation of what could happen if you go back or forward in time and mess with the timeline. I liked seeing Eddie again and watching Barry interact with himself. So I give this
Time
episode
Reaper.
8 out of 10 messages for Iris. Arrow was so much better this week. I'm really pleased. I am an Olicity shipper, so ultimately I do want them to be together. But more than that, I just want Felicity to be on the show. So I hope that even though she doesn't want to be directly a part of Team Arrow right now, that the writers keep finding a way to integrate her into the show. And I'm especially glad that she was in this episode because this is the villain that she defeated so effectively in Flash that I think it would have been out of place if Felicity would not have been around. I'm still mad that Felicity is walking so well so soon, but I'm glad that the storyline of the chip in her spine has not been dropped. And I'm really glad that the Arrow writers chose to put information up at the end about the Christopher Reeve Foundation to bring awareness to spinal cord injuries. I really liked all the wonderful teamwork in this episode. Quote of the week is that Felicity is not Voldemort. You couldn't see her name. So I give this episode 8 out of 10 Harry Potter references, which were in both Flash and Arrow this week. Still enjoying Lucifer, which gets 8 out of 10 parental issues. And S.H.I.E.L.D. gets 8 out of 10 brothers named Alfie. Have a super week.
Awesome.
Thank you, Justina.
Yeah, great points.
Good job.
I liked her assessment of The Flash
Yep.
because, yes, we did get all that stuff. And it was a nice way to get all that information by kind of alluding to, I got the tachyon thing, I got this, I got that, I got, So I like that.
Okay, so thankfully we don't have as many episodes next week.
No,
We only have 6, so we can get back to hopefully under 2 hours.
right.
Because this week, damn.
Yeah,
So,
sorry
yeah.
about that, guys.
That's okay. We owed it to Justina, so we need to get that done.
Well, it was mostly our
so-
fault, not just Tina's fault.
No, I know that. That's
We're
what
the
I'm
ones
saying.
that talked a lot.
I realized that, but we were already late before Justina,
Right.
so it's not Justina's fault.
Right. But if you do want to give us feedback, like Justina, where can they get in touch with us?
They can get in touch with us at Phantom Zone Cast on Twitter,
Right.
and they can also get in touch with us at our Phantom Zone
Podcast.
podcast. I'm gonna need you to pause it for a minute. Hopefully it recorded everything. I don't know if it did, but
We're good.
okay. So, all right, we'll count it down. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's do this right again.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I had a little technical difficulty on my end. So we're at Fandom Zonecast on the Twitter machine. We're at Facebook, of course, on the Fandom Zone podcast page. And fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
That's right.
So you can email us there. Please give us a review on iTunes, or at least, let us know what you think about us. Because the more we get reviews on iTunes, that helps us out. And also tell your friends about us.
Sure.
If you like what we do, we love doing these podcasts with you. We'd love to grow the audience. So, please give us a like on Facebook and tell your friends about us. Share us a little bit if you like it. Okay.
Where can they get in touch with you?
Me, of course, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, Google Plus for you crazy kids on the Google Plus, and Facebook, of course. My blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about all this stuff, including the latest casting of Iron Fist.
That's right.
Where they just cast Colleen Wing.
Ooh.
Yep.
I give you a shout out on Maids of Steel, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I need to listen to that.
Yeah, because you gave a nice rundown of the new, who is it that just got cast on Supergirl for the next couple episodes?
Oh, who was that? I'm blanking.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember either. Sorry about that.
It's a girl that's coming on.
Yeah.
But you gave a nice rundown of her character. So
I could check real quick if you really want to know.
No, it's all right.
That's all right. I wish my brain is fried at this point.
So I gave your blog a shout out.
3 hours podcast. So.
I gave your blog a shout out. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So Karen, where can they get in touch with you?
I am at Aleveria, Aleveria, on the Twitter machine. And there is a link there to my blog where you can find a pinned post with all of my links.
All right.
Oh.
So that, and?
Nope.
Oh?
We're good. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Sorry for the little technical glitches and stuff here. But next week, only 6 episodes. Hopefully a much more leaner and meaner machine next week.
Yeah. But we are told that people like us covering all the shows. So
yeah.
We
Hopefully
bring you what you want.
Yep. Yeah, we do. So hopefully you enjoy all this nonsense of ours. We enjoy it. So we'll see you again next time.
That's right.
And we have a little nice little sign off, don't we, from this week's Lucifer?
That's right. Brought to you by Charles.
And the Abandoned Excess.
Well, yes, but you're the one that wanted it and gave me the heads up. So here we go.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.